Hello?
Why do I keep
muted.
muting myself? Hello. We are here for the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. If I stop muting myself, episode, who cares at this point? But very excited. Big Brother 25 is in full swing. And we talked about the premiere, which wasn't that great, but we're here to talk about what's a very crazy first week. Even if the show doesn't want to admit that, it was a pretty crazy first week, and there's a lot to really get into. But before we do that, I am here with my lovely, beautiful co-host, Allie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Just having a chill day on one of my days off. I'll probably go for a walk later, but other than that, just probably gonna chill today, and because I did have a big weekend.
You did. But thankfully, for the second video in a row, we are not alone for this podcast. We have someone who has been wanting to be on for quite a bit, and we finally were able to get her on, and we're very excited about it. We have Victoria. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's great to have you. Victoria has expressed interest for like a long time to be on our podcast, and the second that like she said that she really wanted to do this, we're like, okay, you're watching Big Brother, right? And she's like, fuck yeah, and yeah. So, but yeah, before we get into everything, we're gonna do what we usually do with our guests and just kind of ask you, what are you thinking of this season of Big Brother so far?
Yeah, I've been hearing that the season's a lot like BB10. I think a lot is going on right now, and it's just, I feel like this is one of the good seasons in a while.
Yeah, it has a lot of potential so far. Here's what I will say about this first week and we are going to talk about feeds because Allie and I said this. We said this in the premiere episode, and we're going to say it again. I think last season proved, and especially what happened with BB Can earlier this year, just how important feeds are, how important it is to continue to stay informed, because there is a lot that these episodes leave out in terms of how crazy this first week was. Like, I feel like if you are going based just on the episodes, you would think this is just a very normal first week. There isn't a ton going on. Like, there's things happening, but it's a much more condensed version of what's happening than what actually went down. And we're going to get into all of that. But I will say, my God, if they keep up the momentum that this first week has, this has potential to be, I think, one of the best seasons for sure. This cast is here to play. Some of them not so great in terms of playing. Some of them not so great either. Don't worry. We will get into that because, oh my God, there's
I think also, I will say production is kind of bad though this season because they don't really edit the episodes that well.
Yeah, the episodes have not been edited very well, I feel like. Mainly just I think Sundays was good and Wednesdays had its moments for sure, but I've seen people say this and I will agree. I think they really need to kind of do what Survivor is doing and just have 90-minute episodes, especially on a season this crazy where literally, I mean, I said this on Twitter. This is one of those seasons where, like, you miss like a few hours of feeds, you feel like you've missed a whole week. Like, there's so much happening all the time. It's like, I feel like in general, they just need to find a way to make the show better. And look, production has shown, and I think you'll agree with me on this, Allie and Victoria as well, that like they have so little fucking care for the show that they're making because they're so incredibly lazy and like very messily handled, especially the last episode we're going to talk about. I thought was
Thursday's episode just annoyed me a lot.
Yeah, like but you would think with them, it being the 25th season and them having Cirie on there, more people watching this season more than ever because of the fact that Cirie is there, you would think that they would put a lot more effort into it, and they're really just kind of not. And it's just disappointing to see because especially on a season that's so exciting, it doesn't feel as exciting as it should be in terms of the episodes. So yeah, I would agree with you. The episodes are not that great in terms of like how they're being edited. So
yeah, like production needs to like really go back and watch that, go fix things. Like they're just making it look really weird.
Yeah, for sure.
It could be better.
Yeah. But with that said, we are going to get into the episodes themselves. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the episode, but then we're also going to tell you what they left out, because there's quite a bit that they ended up leaving out. So we're going to start off here with Sunday's episode, which out of the three, I thought Sunday's episode was definitely the best. I thought that they most things like really well, and I feel like they did a good job of like really introducing everyone and getting us to see like certain key dynamics that played out. So we're going to start off here. And there's some things that we didn't get to see on the feeds right away. So I'm glad that they showed that to us on this episode, because we didn't get the feeds until like an hour after everyone had met. And we actually do get to see some very crucial things where we see, after meeting Cirie, several house guests have an immediate reaction to her. Felicia, Reilly, and especially Izzy, they all know who Cirie is. So any sort of speculation that, oh, these people aren't going to know her, pretty much out the door. She lets it open very early. She lets it out very early on that she is from Survivor, and I feel like it's good that she told them right away, because I think if not, like, it would just be kind of like, it would be like this unnecessary target on her back, and people wouldn't, people would figure it out and put two and two together. So I think it's good that like right away, yes, I'm Cirie, I'm from Survivor. I think it was good that she told people right off the bat.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, after I remember seeing the Sunday episode, and then Izzy was telling Jared, "Oh, you're Cirie's child," and the way when Izzy said it, it didn't feel like it was the right time to say that. Like, she should have waited to like a more private setting.
Yeah, that's the thing that the episodes do not, neither of these episodes do a good job of showing, is that not only very early on we find out that Izzy immediately knows Jared, and like he's, she's been stalking their Facebook like endlessly, so she knows that Jared and Cirie are related. But she, every single time she has this conversation with Jared, she never refers to Cirie as Cirie. She refers to Cirie as moms, and I don't think Izzy realizes how dangerous that is. Like,
yeah, that's like really risky, because something could really like just come up.
Literally, if one person hears her say it, like they're done. Like, it's so bad, but it's so entertaining to watch. But at the same time, I'm like walking on eggshells, because I obviously want Cirie and Jared to do well. So it's like, oh my God, Izzy, like you gotta chill. Like,
yeah, Izzy is such a mess. Like, I do not see her going long.
I really
far.
I think she.
Yeah, but do you guys think Izzy will be very loyal to Jared and Cirie to the end?
I think she's too loyal is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think
because like she doesn't even like give them room to breathe.
Yeah, like they don't show it in one of the episodes, but like there was this a little spat that Kirsten and Cirie had, and Izzy literally was standing in the middle of them the entire time and being like trying to, I guess, be like a mediator of sorts to a conversation she had no business being in. So yeah, I mean, I feel like Izzy is a loose cannon, and we're just gonna see her like continue to erupt. And I think Cirie even already is getting to a point where it's like, okay, she's a little much. I kind of need to like step away from her for a bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up going like very late pre-jury, maybe even early jury. I don't think she's going to be around that long, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. I wanted I wanted to ask, like, we remember the Paul season, how people were very loyal. Do you feel like Izzy's kind of mimicking those other players' ways?
Oh yeah. I think that. So my thing is that I don't think this cast is going to be like Big Brother 19, where they just kind of like sheep Cirie, which I'd love if they did, because it's Cirie and we fucking love her, and that'd be amazing. But I think these players are a lot more savvy than that, and they're figuring things out a lot quicker, and a lot of them are playing for themselves. And I think Izzy, she's very much like the minion of Cirie right now. Like whatever Cirie does, Izzy's gonna do, and we haven't really seen any instance of her like wavering, and it's absolutely gonna be the thing that ruins her game.
Oh yeah, I feel as of right now, I see her being like last pre-juror maybe.
Yeah, same. But we'll see how that goes. So we get a montage of Cirie on Survivor. And I like this a lot because for people who haven't seen her seasons, like me, for example, I thought this was really good at like catching us up. She says that though she hasn't won, she does feel like sort of an expert after these games. She thinks she's known best for her powers of persuasion, usually always getting what she wants. And she mentioned that there is someone she knows really well. And her plan coming in is for her and Jared to stay undetected. So she's not telling them. And Allie, I think you can agree with me on this, that like a lot of the time, Big Brother recently, the diary rooms have been utter garbage and just really like manufactured and just horrible, like really just kind of unwatchable. It feels like this season they're a lot more like authentic. And I feel like that's because Cirie's here. Like they're not going to have her say all this like terrible like drivel that they usually do. It just feels a lot more like authentic in terms of the diary.
Oh, yeah. I think mostly they're all very genuine this season for sure. Like just especially like how people talk.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like I will say Kirsten's DRs are kind of robotic.
Oh yeah, she's the only one where I'm like,
nice. She seems like a very nice person. She just
agreed.
Doesn't have a lot of emotion when she's talking in the confessionals.
Yeah, definitely. So Jared pulls Izzy aside and she says that she doesn't want him going home. Now, we saw at the end of like the first episode, they had like a bit of a conversation and we actually get to see what that conversation was about here. She says that she doesn't want him going home and that it's between them and she will take his secret to the grave. Which we'll see if she actually sticks to that. But Jared says that his mom was going to be here as they planned it together. But it's a little scary that someone already knows of his identity and that they haven't even been an hour into the house yet. And he's hoping that Izzy doesn't say anything as he doesn't want to paint a target on himself day one. So we'll see how that really goes. But everyone looks around the house and claims their rooms. And Jag and Reilly hit it off immediately, bonding over juggling. And he asked her to name 2 fun facts about her. And she says that she really likes peanut butter and juggling, and that is her dog's middle name. And Jag says he senses really great vibes from her and a really positive energy. And they're already making jokes and laughing together a lot.
I think they're such a wholesome duo.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Jag for sure is like such a teddy bear. Like he's just the person you just want to hug.
Definitely. I like Jag a lot. And
I love him so much.
Yeah. I really like their overall dynamic, and I think that this was good for Reilly for them to like have this dynamic of sorts. But there is a downside to this. What the show does not tell you is that Reilly takes this partnership with Jag a little too seriously, to where any instance that someone says, like, who do you feel good with so far, she name drops Jag. So everybody knows that she's with Jag, like, by the end of the week. So while, yes, I think it's a good...
It gives vibes of when Jared's like, hey, I trust Cirie or I want you to add Cirie and Felicia.
Yeah, they didn't show that either. But, Reilly's kind of a mess, and we'll get into that.
Oh,
but Victoria,
love her, but ugh.
We love
Victoria,
a
what do you think of Reilly so far?
I do think she's adorable. Like, she's so cute, though. She just is just messy as a player.
Yeah. Definitely. Victoria, any thoughts on Reilly and Jag's little friendship they have going on?
I think it's very cute, but like you said, the fact that Reilly is like telling everyone that she's very close to him, that's a very... It's not good gameplay. I think when people ask you that, especially so early in the game, you should just I don't know, say anyone but your real ally.
Yeah,
I would agree with that too. Whenever someone comes to me and says like, who are you working with, I try to bring up someone that like everybody kind of feels good with, and not really somebody that I feel like the best with. Or if someone like casually name drops someone, I'll say, oh, I really like them. Like, I won't make it clear that like they're working together. And I feel like there was a way that Reilly could have positioned people to work closer with Jag than literally saying, yeah, I love Jag, like every single second that she could. So yeah, not great to say the least.
No.
Cameron and Red then bond a bit about their experiences in the South. Cameron refers to himself as the space cowboy and Red as the space hillbilly, who looks like he should be playing the stand-up bass, and he loved him. And not a fan of
I will say, I think it's really funny we thought at first Red was going to be like not this real person, and then and he was just like really problematic, and we thought Cam was going to be just like super nice and chill.
And it's literally the other way around.
Other way around. Like Red is actually like really just wholesome and just really fun. Cam is just bad.
This is the other thing I don't think they showed well this week, is that Cameron is not this like nice guy that like is friends with everybody. Like that's not really who he is.
No.
He started off actually very introverted like the beginning of the week and really only feeling a connection to like a few people, and then he just got really fucking cocky all of a sudden to the point where he was literally telling his alliance to distance from him to put him in a better position. Like so bad all around. And I won't even get into all the gross shit he said to Reilly and how much he's been like emotionally abusing her, saying things like, "Oh, don't make me, you know, say things that make you upset," and things like that. It's just really fucking gross to watch, and I wish the show would.
Yeah, and I heard that Cameron likes Reilly, but he realizes that he'll never have the time of day with Reilly, so he's being very mean to her.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then he keeps telling people, "Oh, I see her as a daughter." It's
which is so creepy. Like he has
a crush on your daughter. Ew.
He literally has 10 years younger than him. Like what?
Yeah, like he literally has a daughter who's like 5-6 years old.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
So odd. Ugh.
Yeah, so Mecole says that she doesn't see a lot of people like Cameron and Red in DC. Cameron is quirky and Red has long red hair and a beard and reminds her of someone from Duck Dynasty. They're both country boys and they make a hilarious duo. I don't know if they make a great duo, but I will agree that Red is pretty iconic. Cameron,
he's funny. I will say so far Mecole's kind of in a really good spot. Like she's just playing very low key but like strategic, and like I think I can see her going like really far.
Me too. I think that in a house that is so incredibly chaotic, she's somebody who is making genuine connections with people and people don't really see what she's doing, and I think because of that she is going to make it really far.
Oh yeah. Especially with this super strategic cast too, but she's actually like doing well.
Yeah, well, super strategic, and then someone like Izzy, who's just like a loose cannon.
Yeah.
But Jared goes to Cirie, and this was definitely one of the highlights of the episode. At first, very excited to see him, but then hears him refer to her as mom, and just immediately realizes what is going on. And you can just see like the immediate switch from her trying to be nice to Jared, acting like it's like the first time, and then seeing that he referred to her as mom. She's like, wait, Izzy knows? And Izzy assures her that she has her and she loves every second of this and both of them are safe no matter what. She starts fangirling a bit and also tells Jared he is absolutely coming off the block if she wins HOH. And Cirie then says her number one goal is making Izzy 100% trust her. Izzy is then shaking, seeing the both of them, thinks that she has true power over them as she's the only person in the house that knows. And so this was a very interesting moment, the way that immediately you now have Cirie knowing that Izzy knows and Izzy having to hold on to this secret. Like I said, to me, I think this is going to be something that loses her the game, but it is going to be very exciting. It's going to be very fun to watch.
I feel like she's definitely someone who's playing for like second right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think she's playing for pre-jury at this point, but yes.
Actually, no, she's playing for third because to Cirie and Jared.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say second because there's no way in hell Cirie would bring Izzy over Jared to the end. So
no, they would take each other over anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they flip on each other in jury, but who knows?
It's possible. But Felicia calls everyone to the living room so they can all get to know each other. There are a couple things to note here. We see Blue is laughing about the fact that Red delivered all of his kids on all of his own kids, but she knows for sure that she couldn't do that. And then as they're all introducing themselves, the scary verse light is flashing on, and out pops Cory just out of nowhere. He's come back from his time there. And here's where we get some interesting stuff. He tells them that, and I will say right now, I was expecting to see the nether region and like what was actually going on there. I was surprised that they didn't show that. And this is something else that I feel like if the show was longer, they could show this. We could actually see what's going on in the nether region. Because from what I've heard, even on the live feeds, we haven't seen the nether region, which is a bit disappointing. It's like this thing we never see. Like,
it'd be nice if we got to know.
Yeah.
Like kind of what it is.
But according to what he says, because we don't actually know what happened, he tells them that he was pulled into the nether region to deliver them all a message, that he was pulled there only for a short time. Unfortunately, next week, one of them won't be so lucky. So we don't really know what that's all about. He notices Cirie and is freaking out as he's a huge fan of her, but also thinks that he's screwed. I love Cory right off the bat. I will say that he is someone that is so much fun to watch this season because I don't feel like we get someone like him traditionally. We don't normally have someone who not only knows so much about Big Brother, but knows so much about Survivor and can't contain his excitement about it. He's always talking about seasons of Survivor or seasons of Big Brother. And the first few days, I remember people were saying, Cory is somebody who is, Cory sounds like a salesman. Like we can't take him seriously because all he talks about is like Big Brother and Survivor. But I feel like he is just a really fun character to watch. And I'm honestly hoping he does make it far because he has this knowledge about Cirie that, aside from Izzy, a lot of people don't know about, and I'm excited to see how he navigates that throughout the season.
He's definitely like very smart and strategic, but he's also like such a troll, like his brother.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like literally, they're both so funny.
Yeah, and I love that he hasn't even tried or cared to mention that he's related to Zach because I feel like most would be like, who's that? Like he was first.
Yeah, besides the people who like really know Survivor, they'd be like, huh?
Yeah, they'll be like, who?
It literally, and that, like, here's the thing. I've heard people say that, like, oh, he's not revealing because it'd be too much. They already have one person who's related to a Survivor player. They're not going to reveal that there's two. But also, I feel like if you come into the house and say, I am related to Zach Wurtenberger, everyone would just be like, cool, let's move on and eat dinner. Like, nobody would it's like
cool. Let's move on and talk about the veto comp.
Yeah, literally, like it's such an innocuous thing, and I feel like that's why he's not saying anything about it, because saying I'm the brother of a first boot, unless it's Francesca Hoagie, has zero weight to anything. So yeah, I think it's funny that I like the way he's playing so far, though. So Cameron talks about how Cory is so young. He will get carded for a while, as well as the additional crayons and kids' menus when he goes out to restaurants. Look, I don't like Cameron, but this was funny. I will say.
Well, that was funny.
And then Cirie says for her to be with Jared is like being here with her best friend because she is because she is, and the highs and the lows she will feel with him. She needs him, so she knows he's got what it takes. I just really love Cirie's DRs about just how much she loves Jared. It's just really wholesome to watch. It's so a very different child parent dynamic that we've seen, because the only one we've seen besides this is Dick and Danielle. This is like the complete opposite. It's a lot more wholesome and sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, it's up there.
I'm really liking their dynamic so far. I think it's definitely one of the best parts of this season. So yeah. Matt is feeling very attached to Reilly, or very attracted to Reilly immediately. We see Kirsten is feeling attracted to Matt, but feels he has some tricks to him. And then Mimi loves Hisam and his laugh, which Hisam's laugh is just amazing. It's like,
I know,
evil villain like status. I love
his laugh, and Felicia's are so good.
Oh my god, Felicia's laugh! I could make a whole podcast just about Felicia's amazing stuff in the first week.
Just make a compilation.
Literally, just give us a whole episode of Felicia breaking mics, falling into the hot tub and laughing, because it's the best.
So good.
Yeah. So Cirie does tell everyone in her introduction that she is from Survivor. Like I said, I think it's good that she just got that out of the way. There's no speculation or anything. And then Cory says that he knows the Cirie Fields playbook. She makes you feel like she's your number one ally, and then makes it to the end instead of you. He's starstruck, but it won't stop him from winning this game, and he will beat Cirie if it's the last thing he does. Would do we think? Do we think this is going to work out? Like he's going to be able to outlast Cirie?
As of right now, I don't think so, but we'll see.
I mean, I appreciate the ambition, but realistically, I don't really think so. But I can't believe Cory was telling Cirie like about like he knows about her. Like that was such a
I know. Yeah, that was we'll get to that in Wednesday's episode, but I can't believe he did that either. But I also feel like if I was in his position and I was a fan of Cirie, I probably would have done the same thing. So I can't really fault him for that.
True.
At the same time, I do think that something Cory is already going to have to realize is that watching somebody on TV is very different from actually playing the game with them. Like I've experienced firsthand, like watching someone in like an org that I really like and then actually getting to play with them. They're two completely different things because you can say, oh, I know how this person is playing, but you really don't until you're playing with them. And I think that's something that Cory's gonna realize.
Oh, definitely. Like as of right now, I see Cirie probably making it like super far. Cory, I see Cory making jury right now, but I can see him being like maybe like an 8th or 9th place.
Yeah. That seems.
But we'll see.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate. I don't think he's getting pre-jury anymore. I think he's.
I don't think so either.
So far.
Or he could also be a possible first juror.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. All right. Kirsten opens up a message containing the transmission from the Humiliverse, asking who is brave enough to become the first 4 have-nots of the season. Jared, Cory, and Luke.
Oh, I think also Hisam.
Oh yeah, and Hisam.
Yeah, I forgot to say that. At this point, like, what are the point of have-nots? Like, they don't do anything. They don't have any. Like...
Yeah, I miss the competitions.
Me too.
You know what I wish they did? And I hate this season, but I like what they did in Big Brother 22, where the HOH had to pick, or people had to pick the have-nots on their own. It was very spicy. I hate the season, but the moment where like Mecole picks Janelle and things like that is one of the highlight moments of that season.
That was so funny.
That was a very spicy moment, and I wish they would have continued that rather than, I'll just take one for the team. Like, who cares? It has no power. You're eating oatmeal.
No.
Who cares?
It's like plain oatmeal, I think.
Yeah, it's like literally nothing. You're sleeping on a cheese. Like, there's nothing to this.
Sleeping on some cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys were on Big Brother, would you volunteer to be a have-not?
I mean, it literally has no power on me, so like, sure.
I would, if no one else was going to. I mean, yeah, I'd just take one for the team. Like, be like, sure, it's for the experience.
Yeah, I want to try that slap. I want to see how bad it is. Or how good it is.
Me too. Watch it not even be bad, because I mean, oatmeal's not bad.
I think Cirie says later in the episode, she's like, "I'll eat the oatmeal."
It's probably just like really bland and plain, like no flavor to it, probably.
Yeah.
They then all step into the have-not room, which contains a cheese bread, a hot dog bed, and a contraption that, in order to leave, they must use by spinning the dial a specified number of times, and then kick themselves by. Then they all take turns doing it. Okay. Is it just me, or do they have like an obsession with butt challenges and stuff this season?
Yeah, I don't know who is in charge of like the challenges this season, but I feel like someone's got a weird fetish and they just want to like include it in as many comps as they possibly can because it's really obvious at this point.
Instead of Big Brother, it's big butts.
I also feel like just because the Humiliverse, like, do they know anything else that's humiliating besides like getting a wedgie and kicking yourself in the ass? Like, there's more that you could do with the Humiliverse besides that.
Oh, I just think it's so funny. It's like someone just loved butt.
Yeah, I already talked about this contraption a little bit on our brief like live feed part of the episode 1, but I fucking hate this contraption so much, mainly because like there's so many points already this season where people are having like a really important conversation, and then someone has to come in and be like, "Oh, sorry, I gotta like spin the dial and I'm gonna overpower you with this thing kicking me in the ass." Like it's so bad. It's
They're
so
like,
bad.
they're like, I gotta kick myself in the ass first. Give me a second.
It's also so loud. Like, you can literally hear it when people are in the kitchen. It's horrible. I hate every second of it. Get rid of it, please.
It's so...
We don't need it.
Oh my god.
Like, I feel like the intent is that, like, it's supposed to stop them from, like, strategizing, but I want to see them strategize. Like, it's... Ugh, I hate it.
Same. Jared talks to Cirie and says people are starting to recognize they're not talking at all, and she says they can fix it and just doesn't want them to be in here by themselves. And she tells him to solidify the things he has with everyone. And she mentions Luke and I almost said Hisam again. Hisam.
At least you didn't say Hyman like Jared did. That was so funny. And I think he said Heisman at one point.
Oh, yeah. Heisman.
Not one for remembering people's names. Definitely not.
Yeah, it's so funny. She also gives him advice to not tell people who he's talking to later because she overheard him saying that to Kirsten. And she shouldn't be hearing it when she walks out of the room, and they shouldn't sweat it until they see what happens tomorrow and then they get to work.
This is just like masterful. Like, we're just watching Cirie, like a master. We're just watching like Cirie like give advice to somebody like before our own eyes. It's amazing to watch the way that she's like reeling Jared in, and the way that she's talking to him, trying to like give him that advice, telling him to like clean things up a little bit. It's so good. Like, I feel like a lesser player wouldn't know how to be like so constructive about it. But what I think is so good about Cirie is she does it in like a very calming manner, and it just works. Like, there's so many instances, and they don't even show all of them in the episode, but like she has a conversation with Kirsten later in the week, and it's just the way that she talks to her, it's so like calming to the point where it's like, yeah, you kind of have to agree with her because of the way she's talking to you. It's just it's so good. I get the hype for sure. Like, Cirie is incredible.
Oh, she's amazing.
Victoria, have you seen Cirie's seasons like prior to this?
Actually, I'm very like new to watching Survivor. I think I've only watched a few recent ones. However, when I was in the org, I got my Cirie moment. Everyone ended up using their idols, and I ended up being the one to go. And then I watched what happened. I was like, oh my gosh, the same thing happened to me. So I really connect with her on an emotional level after that. She deserved to go that way.
Yeah, that's really the only thing I knew about Cirie prior to this as well. Like, I knew she had, people say she's like a masterful like social player and things like that, but I mainly knew about her getting what's now the term Ciried, you know, with all the advantages being played and her basically leaving because of that. But I feel like just this first week alone, I see it. I see why people call her one of the best social players ever, because like, it's just incredible how she's able to already be in such a dominant position and not even you know, people seeing it. It's not even people like, you know, getting her to do things. No, she's going to them and really valuing these one-on-one connections. And I think she's really killing it. Like, I've heard people say, oh, if Jared wasn't here, Cirie wouldn't be doing as well. I completely disagree. I think if anything, Jared needs Cirie more than Cirie needs Jared. So
I think so too. Cause like sometimes Jared can be a mess when he's not talking to his mom.
Sometimes, more like all the time.
I mean, he does have his moments where he's good. Like, he's a good social player, but like he just needs to like chill.
Yeah.
Love him, but like he just needs to chill a lot.
For sure.
She says she's a little bit worried that he's a nominee. She loves him, but it's crazy to be here and see him playing this game. He's her son. He's her son, though, so it's just mind-blowing that she's in here, and words can't express this feeling, which is just really wholesome.
Oh, yeah.
Jared says his mom is definitely a legend in the game, and it really puts a lot of trust on him to not be the one to go first.
Yeah.
Luke, Matt, Kirsten, and Reilly and Jared are bonding, and they want to make a 5-person alliance, and they experiment with different names until Luke comes up with the Phalanx 5.
And this was literally the very first thing that we saw on the feeds. It was so weird. Like,
I know.
And immediately there's an alliance happening. It's like, oh my God, what are we in for this season? And just
literally,
the way this alliance crumbled almost immediately is so comical to me. Like,
oh, it's so funny. Like, literally,
it didn't even last an hour.
Yeah, it was literally an alliance that lasted like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Reilly says she's unsure if this is a real alliance, and she's leaning towards no, just because it's night one and energy is high. Everyone is just mingling and becoming friends, so she's going to go just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I feel that was very smart of Reilly to realize that, because most alliances in the beginning, they don't really last as long.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I thought it was smart for that for sure. But the thing they do not show in the episode is really what caused Phalanx 5 to fall apart. It's not just because of Kirsten and what she did. It's mainly through two people. It's through Izzy, who found out about the alliance that was made from Jared, and then Jared exposing it to Cirie, which we will talk about a little bit later. But really, that's what the catalyst.
Well, it basically started because Izzy told Jared that what Kirsten was doing, and then that caused the distrust.
No, Jared told Izzy about what was happening, and then it went from there.
I think Izzy was the one who told what she was doing, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
She was just playing messy and stuff.
Yeah, because Izzy and Kirsten were bonding at first, and then
Izzy
was like, oh, she has all these other deals. And I will say, I thought Kirsten was doing really well at first, and then it seemed like it just completely like blew up in her face, and we really see that this week. Although I don't think the episodes portray it very well.
Yeah, Kirsten was doing so well like night one, and then it blew up.
It was so weird. Like, I remember I was literally like, you were at work, and I was like, Kirsten is doing amazing so far. And then all of a sudden it's like, Kirsten's got to go. It's like, what the fuck?
Yup. I know. I had so much like potential for her.
I did too. But I mean, that's what happens when you don't watch the show.
True. She definitely gives like recruit vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because she doesn't really know much about the show.
Yeah.
Jared doesn't know how they go from talking fit and eating healthy to then being in an alliance, and he doesn't know if he can trust it, but he isn't going to say he's not a part of it, especially knowing he's on the block already.
Yeah.
Kirsten says she's a nominee right now and is feeling really good about her chances of making it off the nomination block because she has a solid alliance, but two of them are already on the block, so she isn't sure if that's enough for her to be safe this week.
Yeah, Victoria, what did you think of this whole twist with like the nominations happening like before the HOH?
Yeah, I think that was definitely interesting. I think it was a huge plot twist, but I don't know. I just found it interesting. Like when they did the HOH, I really thought they were gonna nom 2 more people and make it like really crazy, but they didn't. So I thought maybe if they nom 2 more people, I think that would have been more cooler. I don't know, but maybe I just like the chaos.
I think my thing with it is I think it was an interesting idea, but just like most twists in Big Brother, just the execution of it just didn't quite work for me. I feel like it put people, specifically Kirsten, at a disadvantage almost immediately. And I think if she had not been nominated immediately, I think what happened to her this week, she could have easily recovered from. But because of the fact that she was already in hot water because she was nominated, I think that's really what did her in this week. I think there was a way that she could have dispelled a lot of the paranoia and things like that were going on surrounding her. But because of the fact that she was already on the block and already just really trying to fight hard to stay, I think it just really fucked her over. So I just feel like it was an interesting idea, but I feel like there was something they should have done differently.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, hey, Janaea.
Oh, we will talk about this. Don't you worry.
We love you, Janaea. And that, oh my God. We're definitely excited to talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
She talks to Cirie and says her and Felicia are people she will want to protect because too often in the show, people try to vote out the older contestants, which she finds unfair. Which is true.
Yeah.
Cirie tells her she appreciates that, and Kirsten tells her she is very positive with great energy, and Cirie assures her she has her.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that these two were gonna like link up and we're gonna have this great alliance of like Cirie and Kirsten and like Mecole and Felicia, and I was fucking here for it. And then, well, get to what happens.
Yep. Cirie said she knew coming in she would have a humongous target on her back because she's such a legend and survivor, and her main goal is to stay in this house another day. So if she's got an offer, she's open to listen, and she's in full self-preservation mode, just wanting to get past this first eviction.
Which is so smart because Big Brother is like such a long game. And I think Cirie already is like recognizing like she can't play the game like she plays Survivor. And I think that's why she's doing so well. Like, I think she's adapting very well already.
Oh, definitely. And we love you too.
Yes.
Kirsten talks to Felicia about the same thing she just discussed with Cirie. And she wants to make a group of 3 with the 2 of them, and Cirie and Felicia say she is all in, and she has nothing to worry about.
Well, we'll get to that.
We'll see. Spoilers. So he talks to Jared and says that he should be good because of Kirsten, and he nods his head no, and says he doesn't trust her and tells her about the alliance she tried to form with the Phalanx 5. And she is looking for an opportunity to pull herself down, so the moment she gets a chance, she will throw him under the bus. And Cirie tells him she wants to do an all-women thing with Felicia.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was something that Jared did do really well, but I think that the way he approached Cirie was really good, being like, yeah, we can't trust Kirsten. And I think this is another thing where it's like, I think if Jared wasn't on the block, I don't think he rats out Kirsten immediately. I think he does try to make something happen there, but because he's on the block and Kirsten's also a nominee, I think that's why he really went to work here in trying to throw her under the bus.
Oh, definitely.
Also, I feel like when women make other woman alliances, it just sucks that it doesn't last. I don't know why it doesn't last, but
I know
someone always rats it out. That's why it sucks, but that's usually what happens.
I wish like a woman's alliance would be successful. The only one that was like really successful was like the Ball Smashers and the Girly Pops.
Yeah, that's it. Give us the Girly Pops BBUS edition.
Yes. And Ball Smashers because Queen Morgan won. Jared thinks Kirsten is playing way too hard, way too fast, and he really doesn't trust her, and he needs to bring Cirie on board and let her know what's going on. Cirie says for her, it's either they're hot and want to play with her, they're in the middle, or lukewarm, which makes her questionable for her, so she doesn't get a good feeling coming from Kirsten.
I loved this so much. Like, it really, the way we're getting into the head of Cirie, it's just, it's incredible. I love it.
Oh, it's so good. Felicia talks to Cirie and asks if she said something to Jared, and Cirie says he told her about the group Kirsten was trying to put together. She says she wants to do her thing, but is worried. Felicia doesn't like that. She's already gone behind and finds it dangerous, especially since she's doing it behind them, which means she doesn't even trust them if she's already doing a separate 5.
Yeah, I mean, Felicia really is like quick to throw Kirsten under the bus here. And again, it's because she's a nominee and she kind of needs to. But this was kind of where we're like, Kirsten might be in trouble here.
Felicia thinks she's putting a huge target on her back by doing this, and her paranoia is now making other people raise eyebrows. And she's saying she might be a problem, and they don't even know if they can trust what she says. All right. And now it's time for the HOH comp. The first HOH of the season. The 4 nominees are excluded. Everyone else is eligible to compete. So obviously, Kirsten, Jared, Felicia, and Cory cannot play.
Yeah.
This competition comes from the BB comic verse. They will have to show off their superhero skills on the comic course. As the HOH, they will be taking off 2 of the current nominees from the chopping block. One at a time, they will race across the balance beam course and hit their button on the other side to lock in their time, choose their path carefully, because anytime they lose their balance and touch the ground, they have to go back to the beginning and start over, so beware of the swinging obstacles along the way. Whoever races across the beams and hits their button within the fastest time will be the first HOH of the season.
I feel like if I was a player in that season, I wouldn't want to win HOH because you don't get to nom anyone. You have to put two people off. And I think in another way, it would be helpful to get like their, I don't know, like to align yourself with those people because like you did them a favor. But I feel like if it was me, I wouldn't want to win.
Yeah, I think the problem with this was that the HOH just really ends up being very ineffective this week. Like, there's really not much that the HOH has to do. And so it's almost like, why even have an HOH? Like, there's not really much that the HOH has to do besides saving two people and then renomming if necessary. Like, that's really all that needed to happen here. And I just feel like there was more of a role the HOH, I think, should have played. And it just wasn't there. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are like, I don't really want to go for this one, you know? Also, I think we lost Allie for a second. So we will...
Yeah, she froze.
Yeah, we will wait. Anyway, we will continue when she comes back. But we're still talking about Sunday's episode. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, what happens. Well, we know what happens, but... yeah, I think the other thing that I do want to bring up is that a lot of people have talked about this. It's like, I don't know where this whole thing started, that like winning the first HOH is a bad thing, because we've seen in so many seasons, like prior to this, like it's such a good thing to do. It puts you in such a good position. But I wonder if this is like going to be the meta now, where like people don't want to win the first HOH. And so someone like completely unexpected ends up winning.
Yeah, maybe they have to do like a random HOH where, I don't know, like, and somebody randomly becomes HOH the first round. Because yeah, I've noticed a lot of people, they don't want to try to win the first HOH because like the fear.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there was definitely more they could have done for this HOH. Like, I don't know specifically what they should have done, but like either do something different or just don't have an HOH this round, because who the HOH ends up being is so ineffective as the HOH, but does everything that they possibly can to like ruin their game. And we'll get into that. But I just feel like there was more that they could have done. I will say I did get something very wrong on the first episode. The HOH is able to renom anybody. It's not just the 4 nominees. I guess Blue was confused about that on the feeds, and I believed it for some reason. So yeah, that was not true, right? Whoever the HOH was going to nominate whoever they wanted. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, because there's 2 people with a name of colors, they're like, OMG, red and blue should work together and they'll be called purple.
Oh my god, that would have been so funny. Oh, good, Allie's back.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, what happens?
Look, I had to restart my computer because StreamYard messed with the connection again.
Oh, we were just talking about how we feel like there should have been more to this HOH because it ended up being like very ineffective this week.
Yeah, like literally all she could do is like save some people. Yeah. Well, we'll get into who won.
Yeah.
All right. And with what ends up being a pretty steady lead from one person with nearly everyone else throwing with 16 seconds, Reilly easily beats everyone else's time and becomes the first HOH of the season, which I will say I thought she would be a comp beast.
I was shocked that like nobody else tried. Like it was literally her and Hisam were the only people that tried.
I know. Literally, like I had a feeling she'd be one of the comp beasts of the season. But yeah. I definitely wish she would have had a little more power though, because like all she could do is literally just save some people.
Yeah. It's a very interesting sort of twist that the HOH doesn't have all the power. And I feel like they did it because they wanted to kind of change like how HOHs have gone recently. But here's the thing. The past 2 seasons, the first HOH reign has been disastrous. So
I know. It's so bad.
It's just interesting how it's played out.
Yep. Kirsten is
like
unfair.
Post Big Brother 22, winning the first HOH has not exactly gone very well.
No. Kirsten is unsure if Reilly has her back, as they haven't really had a talk past Failings 5. So she's really hoping she sees someone who can benefit her game in the long run.
Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll
Okay,
see.
so we get to the end of this episode where we see Reilly talks to a lot of people. And some of this, I think the show covered well, and some of it they did not. We see Felicia goes to Reilly, tells her that there is one person who is saying a lot of different things about a lot of different groups, and that she doesn't want to be the one to spread rumors, but it isn't one, and that is Kirsten. So she has information immediately that Kirsten is like this really big threat. Jared then talks to her and also brings up how messy Kirsten has been and promises her that whenever he wins a comp, he will keep her safe and that she has him in her corner and can guarantee she also has Cirie and Felicia in her corner. And this is where Jared's like, stop, please. Like, go talk to your mom. Like, this is not good.
No.
Assuming that like they wanted to be there when that's not something that they ever entertained. But yeah, Cirie then talks to her and Reilly brings up to her what she's been told about Kirsten. Cirie thinks that she's a loose cannon and Reilly says that she's going to need a pawn in order to get Kirsten out. And she brings up Jared as someone she wants to take off, who Cirie brings up and how respectful and mannerable he is, and someone she would recommend to her kids to hang out with, which the irony of that is very funny. But I think Cirie, this is like the way that you do it. It's like hype up the person that you're like secretly a duo with. I think this is really good that she did that. Oh
yeah, definitely.
And I think that's really working for her. So
it's definitely like a strategic move for sure.
Definitely. So Reilly thinks it's great that there's a common denominator talking to a bunch of the house guests, and it seems like Kirsten may be on everyone's radar right off the bat, but now it's going to be about which of the 3 nominees that she takes off. Now, something the show did not show here is that they make it seem like Reilly was unsure who she wanted to save. That's not really the case. The thing that they didn't show, and I wish they did, and again, if we had 90 minutes, they would have, because I think the ending of this felt very rushed. But basically what happened was Reilly wanted to initially just save Felicia and Jared. She had that in mind. She bonded well with them. She had no intention of Felicia going. It seemed like a pretty easy thing to do. And Cory was actually going to be her backup target if Kirsten won the veto or someone saved her. Mainly because of the fact that like they didn't believe his story about the Nether region. They thought that he had like a power of some sort. And so everyone was very like sketched out by Cory. And I don't think they did a good job presenting that here, because she never was going to save Cory until he gave her this pitch that I'm about to talk about. So I think
like Cory really did like a good job there.
Yeah, this was not something where it's like, oh, I guess the second person I save is Cory. No, she had no intention of saving Cory until this conversation, and I wish they would have shown that.
Like her only guaranteed save was Jared.
Yeah, after their conversation, it was like
the others were like a toss-up.
Yeah.
Also, I think Cory's a really good talker. Like he's really putting that degree in you.
He is.
I think Cory's gonna be someone that people see as like someone that like they can easily like talk to, and he also I think has done a really good job of working with people that like you wouldn't really expect him to, and I think that's going to bode very well for him later on in the season. So
definitely.
Cory talks to her, hoping to convince her to take him off the block, and this pitch all around is fantastic. Like this is what you should do if you are a nominee and you want to come off the block. He says to her that if he were to win HOH, she would never be his target, and what's good for her game is good for his. She says that she doesn't know what's going to have to happen, but if there has to be a pawn situation, then he says he does believe if he's going to be put up, he will be at risk in the game. And she agrees that he got dealt an unfair hand immediately, especially because he was gone for like an hour. And she feels for him because if it could have been her, and he assures her that he isn't trying to guilt her, and she says she knows he's not. He's fighting for his life, and she understands. And I thought this was like really great work from Cory all around. Does a really good job of convincing her like this is why you need to keep me around. And I was just very impressed by everything he did here. I think that he really killed it with this pitch. So.
I thought this was such a good move for his part, like especially getting close to the like actual noms and everything. He really like pulled it out.
He really did.
And sorry, my mom was also just talking to me.
I figured. But it's time for the first official nomination ceremony of the season. And with a few options presented to her, Reilly does decide to take down Cory and Jared, but they still can be renominated at the veto ceremony, which I think is really stupid. Let me just say, like,
did they actually say that? Because I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, she could have renominated them if she wanted to. But
that makes no sense because whoever she saves just should be safe automatically.
Yeah, they should be immune for the week. Like, it shouldn't just be like, oh, they're immune for now. Because the problem with this for me is it's like, oh, I just saved you, but I also can put you right back up. So it's like, who cares? It's like,
yeah, it's like, see ya.
So that makes Kirsten and Felicia the official nominees for the week. Kirsten is not happy that she nominated her without giving her any insight on what happened, and she feels very betrayed. Cory didn't expect this start, but is happy after 3 days of pure terror that he can finally breathe. The show very much presents this as like she wanted to target Kirsten no matter what. But the other thing the show didn't show is that Kirsten was already kind of throwing Reilly under the bus. Like prior to this, she was saying that like, Kirsten like Matt and Reilly was like stealing Matt from her and things like that. So this wasn't like completely
I will say a couple things that production needs to like fix too. Like they didn't do a really good job either of editing like what all of the things Kirsten did.
Yeah.
And then they also need to like think through their twists.
But yeah, they really do.
Some of them just don't work well.
Most of them don't. But that's to be expected at this point. But Cory didn't expect this start, but is happy after 3 days of pure terror he can finally breathe, unless he's renominated, of course. Cirie is elated to see Jared off the block. This is the first step that they needed. They're both in the house together, and she's so ecstatic. And Felicia is devastated, but she won't let it get her down. It's game on. Everyone is out for themselves, but eviction night, they will not say bye, Felicia, and that is how we end Sunday's episode.
That was a good way to end it. I love her.
It's so good. But we're going to transition right into Wednesday. We see after nominations, Reilly is feeling really good about her reign as HOH since Kirsten has done too much and the whole house has wanted her out. Whereas Felicia is the sweetheart nobody would touch and thinks it's a very successful week for her. My thing with this is like, why didn't you just save Felicia? Like, if you didn't want her to go, why did you not just save her? Like, I understand she felt good with Jared and Cory, but I feel like what she could have done is be like, I will make sure you don't go if you're on the block, and then save Felicia, because it seemed like she wanted to all week. So
I think so too. Oh my god.
Yeah. So Kirsten is completely betrayed by Reilly since they were in the Phalanx 5 together. She just has a hard time in general with bold-faced liars. Jared is happy to be taken off the block, but he's worried that Cirie could be targeted because of her being a Survivor legend, and he wants to gun hard for the veto. Cory is feeling relieved as well. And Felicia then says that though it's stressful being on the block, she brings up how Taylor won last season, having been up there 4 to 5 times. So she's not going to let this discourage her, which we love.
Yes, Queen, bringing up Taylor.
Yes, always. Izzy then goes to comfort Kirsten, who's upset. Cirie comes in and also comforts her, and Cirie says that she feels for her, but also saw this coming, as Kirsten is such a hot mess and a loose cannon, and she doesn't know how that's a good thing for her and Jared. And though she's happy that Jared is no longer on the block, they're by no means safe with the veto still having to be played. So America then tells Kirsten to let out whatever she needs in order to feel better so she can be 100% ready for the veto and that things can change on a dime. America's really the only people throughout the week that doesn't completely like ice Kirsten out and discount her.
Well, it's like America and Mecole.
Yeah, and I think if she was to have stayed, I think definitely like she would have for sure worked with Kirsten.
I think those three would have been like a trio. Yeah. Like join forces. I know she was like really close to Mecole for sure. Mm-hmm. So like I think at first they were like a kind of a duo-ish. But also I will say I feel like America is going to be kind of like the dark horse this season, but I also see her being like a first juror. Because I know some people are kind of weary of her already, but I also do see her doing really well too. So we'll see.
Yeah. She's the kind of super fan I feel like we hope for every season. It's
Yeah.
like, most of the time we get a super fan, it's like, oh, I've seen these seasons, but I haven't seen the rest. But America, she knows what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah. Like, she's honestly, like, impressing me so far. Even though some people have been, like, a little weary of her.
Yeah. Victoria, what do you think of America so far?
I think she gives good energy. I think she's a very positive force, and I think she'll bring a lot of light into this game. And I don't know, I was hearing some theories on Twitter that she has a twin or something. I'm not sure. Or that, and I heard that she cleared all of her social media, which actually is a pretty smart thing to do before you enter the Big Brother house, because sometimes people take things out of context.
Yeah, there was this wild conspiracy theory, like, before the season, they're like, America's not a real person. We can't find her anywhere.
Oh, that's so funny. I will say, wiping out your social media, Carson from Claim to Fame should have done that.
Yeah.
Take notes, girl.
Yeah, because literally, I don't know if you watch Claim to Fame, Victoria, but literally you can see the whole point of the show is to figure out who somebody's celebrity relative is. And if you go on Carson's Facebook, it literally says who she's related to. So it kind of ruins the whole thing. So yeah, not to get sidetracked here, but yes, definitely if you're playing a reality show, definitely wiping your social media is probably a good idea. Reilly then talks to Felicia and reassures her that she is not someone she wants to see leave the house, and that sitting next to Kirsten, who's ruffled every person's feathers in the house, is a no-brainer, as she has her hand in all the cookie jars and they're all talking. I love the part where she's like, she's in all the Oreos and the chocolate chips. I thought that was a great line from her. And she said it's not looking good for her, and she just wants her to know that she's in zero danger and absolutely is a pawn. Felicia says that she really trusts that. However, she's not happy about this and still wants to gun hard for the veto. So Jag then talks to Cory and Luke and says that being a nominee is so hard the first week, is now everyone's now hanging out. And Luke says that it didn't feel real until he saw the keys. And he says to Cory he didn't even know he was on the chopping block and he just got away with it. This just really shows how much of a fucking dumbass Luke is. And not great things to say about Luke, to say the least. We'll get into that later. But yeah, well, Luke sucks, and this is a great moment.
We will get more into that in the next episode, but he's absolute trash.
Yeah, agreed.
So
I will say I never even liked him to begin with. He just gave me like British vibes.
Yeah, like, have you seen his cast photo with his eye thing? It looks weird.
It was weird, and that's why people were suspecting that he also had a twin. But I think that's experiment now. But they also get excited as they finally have access to the backyard, and we get one of the funniest moments of the entire season already just in this one moment. Felicia's just like checking out the hot tub. She dips one of her toes in, completely just falls in, and everyone just starts freaking out. I love this so much. I think the one part they didn't show on the feeds that was so funny is people thought Felicia like was deliberately like falling into the hot tub, and they were like, Felicia, they said no hot tub. Like, what are you doing? I
will say I hope she's all right. Well, I'm sure she is, but it was so funny, just like completely falling in.
I love the way she fell too.
I hope she can laugh about it earlier, but I'm afraid it's already a meme.
Oh, it very much is. It very much is. I feel
like with knowing her, she'll probably laugh.
Oh yeah, she definitely is someone who is just kind of here for the memes, and I'm very much here for it.
I don't think she would be like offended or anything.
No, I think that she doesn't take herself all that seriously, and I think she's very much shown that. Felicia literally, there was a conversation.
That's the best way to be.
There was a conversation with like the Bye Bye Bitches like alliance, and she's like, "Hold on, guys, I got a fart," and then like bolts out of the room. I feel like that kind of sums up like just how little Felicia takes herself seriously, and I'm very.
I will say she's also like really sweet too, but she's also such a troll as well.
She is.
She's so funny.
We then get this moment with Cameron, and this is really where the show like inaccurately portrays Cameron, making him seem like this noble guy. He talks about ever since he's gotten here, he's gotten close with a few people in the house: Blue, Jag, Matt, Reilly, and himself. And it just so happens they were all sleeping in the scary room when they first move in. They're all completely different types who feel like they've known each other forever. They've even adopted a pineapple child named Pimp Apple. I don't know why this is important, but the show wants to focus on that. No matter how crazy it gets, they always find a little time to cut some rug and throw some water onto the dance floor because they will burn it up. Here is what I don't like about this segment. One, it's just, I don't like the way they portray Cameron. Two, Cameron had nothing to do with this alliance existing. The way this alliance actually came together was Jag and Reilly were talking, and Jag and Reilly felt really good, and Jag wanted to make this onion of sorts, and he wanted to make like a he set out to make a 5-person group, and then he wanted to expand it into an 8-person group, and this was all like his idea. And I don't like that the show doesn't give him any credit for it, because this was pretty much all Jag's idea.
Yeah.
And this is what I hate about Prod. Like, they make some people who are really bad people, they make them out like angels. And I still feel like there's some bias, like in the casting when there's people who are like a man of color, a woman of color, a person of color. Like, I can already tell, like, they're making like, no offense, they're making a white person with that credibility when it was a colored person.
Yeah. Like, Cameron had literally nothing to do with this. In fact, I think he was like one of the last people contacted about this alliance. Like,
yeah, he's literally just there as like a number.
Yeah. I think originally he wasn't even going to be in it. I think it was like Jared who was approached before him. So yeah, the way they portrayed this, I was not a big fan of.
The trio started with Jag, Reilly, Blue.
Yeah, and then he expanded it from there, and then we see what eventually turned into Family Style, which they do not mention the name in this episode, but that is the alliance. It's called Family Style. But the part that I did like is we see them all hanging out and dancing together, and Felicia immediately walks in, and she knows what's going on here. They're not making it a secret at all. She says that she is a marksman with a 9mm and misses nothing. The scary room has made it obvious they've made a connection. Her red flags are up, eyebrows are raised, and she's going to keep an eye on it. Felicia's just iconic. I love her so much, and I love how perceptive she is at like figuring things out. Like, nothing really gets past her, and I really think that's going to be something that is great about her all season. Like, she sees through people's bullshit, and you can really see that here. So Jag then talks to Reilly, and she says she can already see them sitting at the end together, and this just really shows like how much Reilly's already overplaying. She's already talking about a final 2, and he assures her that he has her, and they agree to be each other's ride or dies. She sees this as the perfect partnership to make it to the end of the game. I don't know if it is, considering you keep throwing his name out every fucking instance that you can, but I digress. Reilly then says that she has her final 2 with Jag. They both feel really confident in their relationships with the 5 people that were sleeping in the scary room on night 1. So it's time they make this alliance official. So she talks to everyone and says they are at a point right now where they need to solidify numbers and a core. Jag says he thinks they're all on the same page here. He trusts all of them and has their back 100%. Matt says if they can keep this rock solid, it won't break apart. And Reilly says that they're all different pieces, whether it be a muscle compy, social butterfly, things will start heating up and moving fast. And they need to make sure they all have each other's backs no matter what. And she says they all have eyes and ears. And Matt jokingly says he has the eyes, and to not forget about that part, and only some of them have ears. And then Reilly says that moving forward, they're going to be the well-oiled machine. They are the 5, and they all decide on the handful because there's 5 of them. The scary room has hands all over, and Reilly says she wants this to be the final 5. They are her family right now and her team. It's going to be all of their secrets, and they will be the main people that she is protecting. We're not going to speculate how long this alliance is going to last because, spoilers, it's already fucking crumbling. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was pretty obvious that this alliance was not going to last very long. It was very like manufactured. Like, this was very much something where it's like, we want to work with these people. This was not a natural thing. They wanted to get, like, Reilly kept saying throughout the week, I want some kind of 8-person alliance. I want to make a group. I want to make groups. She said to literally everybody that she like had a one-on-one with, and basically just settled on this. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it was pretty clear this was not going to last.
Yeah, I agree. Ugh.
Yeah. So Matt says they have a good thing going with people that are smart, athletic people and cute girls in the Alliance, and there's nothing more that he could really ask for. Reilly says the coolest feeling securing a bond with these people because history is made, and now it's all about making sure one of them wins a veto, so Kirsten doesn't, and they can finish the job for the week. Victoria's still here. She just went off camera for a second. But
I just need to get my charger. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
You're fine. No worries.
Cory then talks with Cirie about, and this is where, we were alluding to the fact before, Cory is really kind of making it no secret. He's this like uber super fan. And this was like, this was both a very wholesome conversation, but it's also like, oh my God, we get it. Like,
I know.
He talks to Cirie about downplaying him being a fan, and she sits on the chair and it farts, and she's very much taken aback by it. And he talks about how she got robbed in Micronesia, especially by her final two. And she brings up how she's had some creative ways to figure out how to lose Survivor, and they had to find new ways to invent how to get her out. And he says he promises to treat her like a real human being first and not just someone he's watched for so many years. And she's delighted that he says all this, but she's also like, okay, but like get to know me first so he knows how to treat her. And he says that he's really excited to be playing this game, but also so terrified as she has spent so many years destroying kids like him at these games. And she's undoubtedly the biggest threat in this house. But at the same time, he wants to talk to her more. So he sees her as the one to beat, and he's trying to win this whole thing, figuring out how to knock her out. He has no idea and will have to figure it out. But as long as he's the one in the end, he can live with that. And well, we'll see if it actually ends up working out for him. But Cirie says she has her eyes, feet, and hands watching Cory, being a super fan, and knowing a resume that well, he should know a little better than to tell someone how good of a player there are. And again, I feel like this is going to be Cory's downfall. I think that he's really overdoing it with how much he loves her on Survivor. I do think the one good thing that's come out of this is that he does talk to people and say, like, Cirie doesn't win the game, but people she works with wins the game, which like kind of incentivizes people to work with her. But I do think if he continues pushing the fact that like she's this amazing player, it's really not going to work out well for him. So I think he really just needs to dial that down a bit.
Oh yeah. And then we get into like a really important and wholesome conversation.
Yes, this was definitely one of the best parts of all three episodes, I would say.
Oh, this was definitely like one of the best parts for sure of this week.
Yeah.
Jag talks to Hisam and Bowie about his culture and that the closest Sikh temple where he lives is in Canada. Hisam asks if he's the first Sikh to ever be on the show, and he says he is, and it's cool to be here representing his family, friends, and everything. And Hisam says he thinks he's a very good representative, and he thinks every time there's like a first, you can either reinforce the stereotype or make people more aware. And Jag says most time he walks into a room, the first thing they see is not a person, it's a turban. I will say I love how like dedicated he is to his culture.
Yeah, he kind of hinted at it like before the season that like he was going to like wear his turban like loud and proud. He was going to talk about how much he cares about his community and like represent it that well. And I feel like this was a really good conversation to have because especially in Big Brother, we've seen like a lot of different cultures like stereotyped and kind of like grouped into one thing. And Jag is here to make sure that doesn't happen to him. He wants to show, he wants to destigmatize the Sikh Punjabis and really just show just the kind of community that they are and represent his community so well. I thought this was just such a great scene all around.
It's just super important and like it really needs to be said.
Yeah, I also want to add culture is very important. I think we should appreciate each other's cultures and learn from each other. And
yeah,
absolutely.
And this is why like people cry for diverse casts every season, because I say this all the time. Like when we have really diverse casts like this, we can have these kind of conversations in the show. Whereas if you're not casting, all kinds of different cultures, we don't get to have these conversations. And I think it's good that we get to see stuff like this and really just kind of get to see two people who are here to represent their community and do it as proudly as they can, but also recognize a lot of the stigma that's like surrounding it. I thought this was just really great.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to say last season, I forgot his name, but he's the one with the store. I'm getting a blank right now, but
Turner.
Turner, there we go. Like, he was saying how he's bisexual, and I think there's a lot of biphobia in this culture still, and Monty was asking like to learn more about it, and the thing is, Turner brought a platform to that, and that was really important.
Yeah,
it was
that's another really good example of like, we need to see more people on Big Brother that are from different cultures, different backgrounds. Like, we get to have really good conversations like this. And I think it's not only is it good for the show, but I think it's good for the contestants as well, because they're just, I think we're just going to see a lot more, like, you know, we're going to see a lot more like different types of people from different backgrounds. And I think that's very good overall.
Yeah, and I also think CBS did the right thing. I think they had an agreement to do 50% more of like people of color, which is definitely helpful, and I think it could definitely could save lives in the process, because seeing someone who looks like you really helps. Because like growing up, I didn't really see a lot of people like me, but I'm now seeing like more Asian people with more darker skin tones like myself, and it makes you feel welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Bowie says that people aren't familiar because they didn't grow up seeing it, which Jag agrees with. And unfortunately, when people aren't familiar with it, they just latch onto the only thing they know.
Yeah.
Jag says every day he's thinking about what it means to be walking around as a brown man, or with a beard and a turban, and he really wants to dispel any negative beliefs of his culture or religion, and he thinks it just happens one day. One conversation, one smile, and one joke at a time.
Exactly.
I really like that mindset.
Yeah. I love him so much.
Oh yeah.
I just want to give him like the biggest hug.
Yeah, he's great.
I'm nervous.
Oops.
What's that?
Oh, I was looking at the post you made for this episode, and I clicked on a reel on Instagram, so that's fun.
Oh, it's funny. He talks to Hisam about what background he has, and he says he's Egyptian, and it took some time to figure out like what it meant to be an Arab in America, and Jag says he definitely gets that, especially living in a post 9/11 world where there's so much Islamophobia, people, and have some hate that they're directing towards him because they think he's Muslim, which he's not, but it's still not okay, even if he was, and shouldn't matter. And Hisam says he thinks that's why he's pretty cautious about sharing it, because not everyone is open-minded. And then Jag thinks it really comes down to being a good person, having good values, and treating everyone with respect. That's what truly matters most at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. He's just such a nice guy.
He really is.
If anyone goes for him, I will be very sad.
Yes. I think he's going to be good for a long time. He's a very fluid player, and I think it's going to work out for him.
Oh, definitely. Like, I can see him making it probably at least like top 5, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, spoilers, him and Cirie are like low-key working together this round, so.
Oh, so good. We love it. Hisam says this is a lovely conversation, and he and Jag have the same story and how they want to raise their communities up and make America see them for just the normal stereotypes. Oh, I love that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Felicia joins Bowie, Izzy, Cirie, and Mimi in the comics room and tells them her theory of what she saw in the scary room. She thinks they for sure have an alliance and have built a connection they can see and feel, and they need to create an alliance for their own, or of their own. And if they can lock down their side, it's on like clockwork. She tells them they have 5 people and she's being serious. And Bowie asks if they can get Reilly, and Izzy says she is on the other side, so it's a bit risky. Bowie says she trusts all of them and wants to work with these ladies, but she's going to leave the room for a bit, and she doesn't want to make it too obvious she's in an alliance, which makes sense.
Yeah.
They agree they are aligned, and Felicia says they are now the bye-bye bitches. They all love the name, which honestly I love that.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
It's such an iconic like Janelle moment.
It is.
Also, I will say, like, Bowie's like, we thought she was going to be like super cracked. She's like the most low-key one in the house.
Most quiet person in the house. In fact, there are people who, it's like a running joke now on the feeds. It's like, where is Bowie? Because she's like never around.
I know. But I mean, I think that could be good for her, but I could also see her being like a double eviction boot.
I think she is primed to be the double eviction boot at this point. Just because I think she's someone that people are going to get rid of right when they have the chance.
Yeah, like if it's a double eviction, she's like an easy person to go up.
The other thing with her that I noticed is like she always seems to be on like different pages with people. Like I remember, I think last round I think the last round she wanted someone else to go that wasn't Kirsten. And I think that's definitely something that is going to be a problem further down the line. It's like Bowie's not agreeing with us; she's got to go. So we'll see though.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
other than that, I don't know much about Bowie. She's not around much.
Yeah, I thought she'd be a big personality because she's a DJ and whatever, but I think they also said she's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's her inner lawyer coming out. I don't know.
But she's also downplaying that well because she's not around enough for them to suspect anything. So that's her strategy. I'm just going to like disappear for a bit, then they won't suspect a thing.
She's like, I'm just going to be like a silent killer.
Yeah.
Cirie says she felt coming into this game that everyone would write her off as someone to avoid, so she's willing to stay loyal to the bye-bye bitches, or as long as they're loyal to her, because if not, then it's bye-bye bitches.
So good. So good.
Oh, it's so good. I love that. Reilly says while they're all really happy with the handful alliance, they know they really have to recruit more people if they want to really run in this house.
Which, again, is not really Reilly's doing. That was Jag's doing, but whatever.
Yeah. So they will be bringing in Cory, Jared, and America because she thinks each of them will add something to their group.
Yeah.
Cory is elated to be part of this and having that level of security. He tells them he just wanted a home since entering this house.
They really try to make it seem like Cory's going to be loyal to this group, where in actuality, like he's very much in the middle right now and doesn't really care where he goes. So like he's not really with them. It's more so he's like kind of just like in the middle.
Oh, definitely. America thinks they all have their different strengths and things and feels solid with this group of people, as Big Brother is ultimately a numbers game. Jared is happy to be brought into such a big alliance as it does give him safety, but with Cirie's name not listed in that alliance and her being his ultimate goal to get to the end, he's not as solid about it. Because he's like most loyal to his mom.
Oh, yeah. As he should be.
Yes. He goes to Cirie and then immediately rats it out to her. She is not surprised to hear about what they already speculated.
Yeah, which I mean, look, I've seen people say that like, oh, if Jared didn't rat it out to Cirie, then Reilly would have been fine. I honestly don't think so, because I think Reilly was doing a lot regardless. And I think though, yes, Jared probably would have stuck by her. I think that they would have found out about the alliance either way, because they were making it so incredibly obvious. Like literally Blue and like Nat came down the stairs together. Like it was obvious what was going on.
She says it's a plus he's in that alliance as she can get information from him, but he's being brought in and she's not, so that makes her super nervous about being the target.
Which we didn't talk about this because they don't really show in the episode, but the reason Cirie was so sketched out about being the target actually had nothing to do with her. It's because of Izzy just like being like just really fucking cracked and constantly paranoid and thinking that like for some reason Cirie was going to be targeted, which made literally no sense whatsoever.
Yep, literally. Kirsten talks to the camera and says with the veto tomorrow, she's going to kick ass, and just anyone out there rooting on, she's doing it for them, and the veto is the utmost priority, and she won't be give up putting blood, sweat, and tears into it. And despite what happens, she wants to continue working with Reilly if she stays moving forward, and to keep her friends close and enemies closer. And she just gained a new one, and she doesn't want to walk out without a fight.
This was a nice little pep talk. I liked this.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Like she's like really trying to fight. Yeah. It's time to pick players for the veto competition. Hisam, Blue, and Cameron will be playing alongside Reilly, Felicia, and Kirsten. Hisam talks to Cirie and Izzy to make sure Felicia's okay, and Cirie says she has been pretty cool about it, and Izzy agrees that she's focused.
And by pretty cool, it means not campaigning at all. Like, Felicia literally did not campaign because she knew she was okay.
She's like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
We love the confidence, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Cirie says she wants to spill the 8-person alliance to Hisam to ensure that the veto isn't used, and her or Jared don't end up as a replacement.
Which, I mean, if you have that leverage, like, yeah, do it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. She then tells him about the handful and that he needs to be cognizant of who he talks to them because it's not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
It's then time for the first veto competition of the season. Cirie is hosting and tells them this comp comes from the Humiliverse where it is an honor to be humiliated. That's why today they will all get the privilege of experiencing an atomic wedgie. Again, with the butt stuff.
I know, like, I don't know what's going on.
Like, why? Why a wedgie?
We really need to, like, sit down and, like, just, like...
I was literally, like, cringing.
Whoever did this, we need to have a conversation. Like, I don't know who's in charge. But, like,
I was like questioning this. I was cringing while I was watching it.
Yeah, this was like, look, Big Brother's always done a lot of like really stupid comps, but like this was like on a whole other level of stupid.
It's so dumb. For this comp, they will start by stocking their wildflowers onto their vase, but be careful because they could be humiliated at any moment when they are hoisted in the air high by their giant underwear. And to win this competition, they must stack all 35 pieces on their case. Then press their button with their structure. Still standing, whoever structured all their flowers and presses their button first wins the POV.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this comp was fine if it was just stacking a puzzle. I honestly don't understand what the point of like the underwear was, other than some weird fetish.
Why? Like there was no point to that.
Weird.
And for this comp, while everyone puts in a good effort, Hisam ultimately wins the veto.
Which, this is where it starts. Let's just say Hisam is already giving us giving
Michael
vibes to a player from last season that starts with an M.
Yep.
Who won
if they don't get him out, he's gonna leave.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But Kirsten then talks with Hisam a little bit and asks how he feels about winning such a power. He says he underestimated the difficulty of the situation and the intensity, and he asks what he can do to help her, and she says that hopefully make the decision to take her down. She owes him the prospect of a great teammate right now. There's power in numbers, and she's looking for someone she can be loyal to, and he says in his heart he wants to help her, and he's a protector, and that's important to him, and his name means, and so he takes it very seriously. He is a person who thinks through something and does not make a hasty decision. And we get right into the veto meeting. And I thought we were going to get to see Kirsten and Felicia give like pitches on why they should stay. I'm sure they did, but they didn't show that for some reason.
Yeah.
Ultimately decides to not use the veto. He's gotten a wonderful opportunity to meet the both of them and could never decide between them, and he's going to leave it up to everyone else to do so. This is not exactly why he didn't use it. He made a deal with Reilly that he wasn't going to and that he was going to honor her word, so he never was going to use the veto, especially after the whole Cirie possibly being backdoor thing came into play. That pretty much threw off any chances of him using the veto. So again, another thing did not show. But he said he didn't want to use the veto as he's come close in all the comps he's played now, and now just one veto, and he doesn't want to give anyone a reason to target him. And I don't know about that, Hisam. I really don't know.
I will say they need to like release secret scenes and stuff so we can see all the like extra game stuff.
That's what live feeds are for.
Well, like, or I don't know. I'm trying to say like they should release things like maybe like during the season. Like,
wait, do you mean like behind the scenes of the comps?
No,
like,
no. Stuff
just like secret scenes. Like they should just release stuff like on the episodes, like some little extra scenes for us.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But that's we have the live feeds for that. But
but so like the casuals can see more.
Yeah, definitely. But Felicia says being a pawn isn't ideal. She just has the hope she can trust what people have said and fall into the trap and not fall into the trap like she fell into that hot tub. I love that she's already running with that. But
She's so funny.
she is. Kirsten says she's not going to give up on herself in this game. Her back is against the wall, and she's not going to give up her game yet. And Cirie then says now that it has been confirmed to her there's an 8-person alliance that didn't include her. It's time for the bye-bye bitches to get to work building their numbers so they can say bye-bye bitches to that 8-person, and they will be sorry and should have stayed with Cirie. Again, just every confessional.
Amazing way to end the episode.
So iconic. I can't stress it enough. Every time Cirie speaks in a DR, it's just the greatest thing ever. I love every second of it. What I don't love is the next episode we're talking about. Thursday's episode.
Definitely like Cirie and Felicia are main character energy.
For sure. But what I don't love as much is the next episode we're talking about. Because Thursday's episode had a lot riding on it. There was a very public scandal that happened that we're going to get into involving a player and something that was said. And, the correct decision to remove them from the game, which we will get into. But there was a lot riding on this episode because the feeds were down for like 13 hours and everyone was like, what the hell is happening? Is there going to be an eviction? Is there some kind of twist that's going on? Like everyone was really confused. And I don't know, I feel like they completely dropped the ball with this episode. Just everything was so haphazard and quick, and it just felt like, and Big Brother's shown this before, they don't know how to pivot. Like, I feel like they had an obvious choice here of what they needed to do, and they just didn't do it. And as a result, we get such an incredibly messy episode. But anyway, we'll just get into it right now. We see Hisam talks about how he noticed the young people have been spending a lot more time together the past few days, and he says he's not the only person to have noticed that. He knows they're in an alliance, and he would have liked to take Felicia off the block, but the house has decided that Kirsten is the first person to go home. That's actually not true. By the house, it's Reilly constantly saying everyone says Kirsten wants to go, so now the meta is that Kirsten needs to go. And then later on in the week, Reilly's crying about the fact that she didn't want Kirsten to go. So that's not really, again, just really shows how messy of a player Reilly really is.
I know. I will say like her and Jared are both very messy. They're good social players. They're just messy.
Reilly is a lot worse though in terms of the messiness.
And Izzy too. Izzy's messy. Izzy's like super messy too.
At least Jared has his mom to ring him in. Reilly is just like constantly crying about being the HOH and saying how hard it is. I think the most. Yeah, I would say probably Reilly and Izzy are the messiest, but Jared as well. Yeah, definitely.
But because at least Jared does have his mom to like calm him down.
Yeah, but that can only do so much because, well, he's already messy again this week. But we'll talk about that in the next video. But Kirsten says is not going to be her legacy. She does not want to be the first person to go home. We'll talk about that. But Reilly says that she has her alliance of 8 people so they can send home whoever they want. But this whole house has agreed to send Kirsten home. So that's what's going to happen. So Felicia says she would have loved it if Hisam saved her, but she understands that he didn't want to blow up his game. And even though Kirsten's the target, she can't stop playing. Although she has the bye-bye bitches, that's only 4 votes, and she has to stay busy and get at least 8 to 9 people to save her. And we then get this segment with America where she checks in with Kirsten, and Kirsten tells her that she's as good as she's going to be. America lets her know that she's here to play the game and tells her that she, wants to get to know people on a personal level and establish trust. And Kirsten tells her that she gave her eyelashes, which makes them both like blood sisters. And America says that the house has pretty much decided that Kirsten is going home this week, but she really trusts her. She's wondering if it's a bad idea to have her leave. And she says that Kirsten does seem like a free agent where she's wandering around, grasping for someone to take her in. She knows that Felicia is really close to Cirie, Izzy, and Hisam, who aren't a part of her alliance. And she's wondering if it might be a better idea to keep Kirsten this week and take out Felicia. So, yeah, I mean, I will say right now, there was no scenario Felicia was leaving this week.
No.
She didn't even need to campaign. People just naturally felt a connection to her. But I do like that America at least tried to flip the vote here and didn't just leave it as it is. It's like, okay, let's at least try to do this, And I think that's what's good about a player like America.
Oh, definitely. Like she's actually like she's just very fluid, I think. And so is I think someone like a Cory is also very fluid.
She has her own mind too, which is very good to see.
Yeah.
So
I also see like Jag also being very fluid too, because like yes, he's with Reilly, but he also could go rogue.
Yeah. So Hisam then talks to Izzy, Felicia, Bowie, and Cirie, thinking about how it would be impressive if the older people stuck together and actually won this game, which is pretty iconic because normally that doesn't happen. But he says that there's never been this many people of their age bracket, and he thinks it would really show America that this game is for everybody, kind of just doing what he's been doing and like preaching this gospel of like, we got to stick together. We have a common goal. Like that's like Hisam's MO, and people are already kind of seeing through it. But he lets them know that Jag, Blue, Reilly, and Cameron are together for sure, and that they should rope in Red, so he knows the information as well as Mecole, so they can stay a strong 7 to work on getting the younger people out. And he says that historically in Big Brother, the old people are voted out first, which has to stop. Younger people consistently underestimate how competitive older adults can be, and that they can win. And I mean, yeah, the older people are kind of running the season so far, which we're here
Oh yeah,
for.
definitely.
I love.
Oh yeah, it's a really good change of pace.
Oh yeah.
So Cirie feels really good about the 7-person alliance. It's for something greater, and it's the perfect situation for her. And it's kind of like Hisam is at the helm leading the charge, which she's perfectly okay with. She says that you want to chop the head off the snake and never get the tail or the middle first. I like that. I like what she's saying here. It's like, I'm the one running the show, but she wants to make it seem like Hisam is the ringleader, which to the other alliance, they do see Hisam as the ringleader. So this is really working out for Cirie. So they talk to Red and Mecole about the 7-person alliance thing very quietly, and then we finally get a segment with Izzy and just how messy she's really being. I don't think they showed enough of just like the full extent of Izzy and just how insane she is as a player. But I think they did at least a little bit to kind of show that. She tells them that the theme that divides the house the most is the young hot singles running around thinking their 7 are the professors, which is now the name of their alliance. They are the professors.
Yep. Which I'm actually here for. That's a pretty good alliance name.
Yeah,
it's very fitting. I like it.
Yes. Oh yeah,
especially because they're all like older and things like that. Like it's great.
Definitely. And also and also it kind of gives vibes of like how Mecole was like, I want to play this like a politician,
which she very much is, I would say. But Red feels really excited about this group. They're all older, and he thinks it keeps them a little more steady in their decisions, which is the most important. And he feels like this group is very, very stable. So Kirsten then says that it's been tough to be on the block. She's felt very alone and thinks nobody has been on her side. The pressure associated with it is no joke. And here's where we get to the thing that pretty much everyone has been talking about. She goes to Luke that it's important to her that she talk to everyone, including the people she was nervous to talk to. They discuss how unfortunate this situation is. He tells her to just chill and relax. So he goes to Hisam, Cory, and Jared about this, talking about what Kirsten did. And out of nowhere, he just very casually drops the N-word. And when he did this, I was fucking flabbergasted. I couldn't believe that this happened. I was like, oh my God, I would have thought that, in 2023 that people were more mindful of saying stuff like that. But,
like, he literally said it so casually, like he says it daily.
He probably does. He probably does.
Like, I thought he'd know better than to do that. But then I think some people were like, if you're saying this word so casually, it must be in your vocabulary on the daily, which is very disgusting. And it's like, now I kind of understand, like, off topic, but I kind of understand how some artists, like, they don't go to Florida, like LGBT artists, they don't go to Florida because, like, of, like, homophobia or whatever. And I can see it now. People in Florida are very conservative, and now I see, like, his hatefulness is coming out, and it's very disgusting to see him do something like that. It's like, you should have known better. And it's like, I'm just so tired. Like, it's like every season somebody's doing some stupid shit like this. Like, can casting do better, please? Like, I'm annoyed.
Yeah, casting always needs to, like, do background checks. We've said this every
season.
Season. But the thing with this whole Luke situation, and look, there's a lot of things that I am not qualified to talk about, so I'm not going to get into all of that with what said and things like that. What I will say is that Luke has generally shows zero remorse this entire time. He's like,
I literally posted because I quoted a video that he that was posted earlier. I quoted that, and let me find it.
I was
just gonna say he didn't even apologize. He never showed any remorse. Ugh, it was gross.
I saw his Insta stories. He had a picture of a cheese, and it was very confusing to me. But then somebody said, "Oh, like that was shade in regards to the have-not room where he said it." And it's like, wow, are you really like not taking any accountability at all?
No, he's loving every second of this because I think Luke sees this as like, this is my 15 minutes of fame. This is how I
more like 5 seconds of fame.
Yeah, literally.
He was never even famous. He's a terrible piece of shit.
No, he fucking sucks. And the thing that sucks is like he's never gonna face any real consequences for this besides being removed. And you would hope that him thinking about it would eventually get him to realize that, like, yeah, I shouldn't have said this or something like that. But it's the fact that he has so little remorse for it. It just shows that, like, this is how he talks every day and things like that. And I think what really pissed me off about this particular thing is in terms of the edits, and this is really where we get to, like, my biggest issue with this is that, one, the way the show did it, you couldn't even tell what he said, obviously, because they had to censor it out. But, like, I think they need to do a better job of showing that, like, yeah, he said a racial slur. It was very insensitive. He was not sorry about it at all. They really just need to do a better job of hammering that home, because for people who don't watch the feeds, and especially for people who are supportive of what he did and things like that, they're gonna double down and be like, oh, well, they didn't actually show him saying it, so who knows if he actually did. No, he fucking said it. He fucking said it. You can watch the uncensored version. He said it clear as day. He tries to cover himself immediately.
He's victimizing. I don't think he's truly sorry.
No, he's not at all. If anything,
it's one of those cases where you're just sorry that you got caught. You're not really actually sorry. And also, here's the thing. Like, I saw, like, he's an illustrator, and some of his illustrations, like, some people are saying they're really graphic. Like, some of them are, like, with girls, and it's very inappropriate. So it's like, this guy seems like an complete asshole.
Yeah, I mean, he did say some really questionable things prior to this, most notably having this conversation about how he met this girl and, like, nearly ran her over, and, like, he found it funny for some reason.
He's literally just a dick.
So yeah, there were a lot of things about him that were very iffy. So I wasn't necessarily surprised. I was more surprised that once again they fucked up on casting somebody like this, hoping that maybe they finally turn things around. But that is very much not the case. Reilly then lets everyone know that Luke has been removed from the house for violating the code of conduct for using a racial slur, which I will say, good on you, BBUS. After fucking years of people being like, you need to remove this person. They're harmful in the house. They're not somebody that should be there. I like that they actually took action here. They stepped up and they did remove him from the house, and I will give them credit for that. What I'm not going to give them credit for is the way they edited this. They made it seem very similar to Kyle's whole thing last season where, oh, Luke's not a bad guy. He just said something and he's just kind of ignorant. It's like, nobody says this willingly like that unless they say it regularly. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, I have to ask, like, in the future, do y'all think, like, if something were, like, God forbid, something like this were to happen again, do you think they'll have the same protocol?
They need to, because now
they've
set a precedent now. Because in Big Brother, and here's the thing, in Big Brother 22, I don't know if you heard about this, but, like, in Big Brother 22, Memphis was accused of, like, saying, like, a racial slur, and they investigated it, and they put out this whole thing, like, you know, if anything had happened, we would have taken swift action. We do not condone anything that was said. So that's why people were really getting on them, being like, stick to your words here, stand your ground, like, show that this is actually, like, a problem. So moving forward, like, if this happens, yeah, they need to, because now they've set a precedent that we do not tolerate this. And I just feel like they needed to hammer home more on just how harmful this really was, whether it was a statement from production, whether it was showcasing what this word really means to everyone and things like that. Even a statement from Goueli just being like, yeah, we really want to reiterate just how harmful that this is, what this word reinforces, the negative connotations behind it, showing that any sort of, racial or homophobic slurs will not be tolerated. Like, they just needed to do a better job, because the way they portrayed this, it just felt like such an afterthought. It felt like we just got to do this and like move on. And just the way they did it, it just really rubbed me the wrong way. I was not a fan of how they showed this at all.
Yeah, I just feel like it's bad when TMZ posts about it. Also, I feel like Kyle last season, like, he should have got discharged from the game as well.
Oh yeah,
he should have.
And similar to Kyle, I'm tired of this narrative that this person is just ignorant. No, this person fucking sucks, because, again, nobody does this stuff willingly if they don't already believe it, if they don't already say these things like in their daily life. And I wish that Big Brother would just recognize that not everyone is a good person. Not everybody has good intent. And I think Luke has shown, especially since leaving the house, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. He says this stuff regularly. He's probably going to say it again, like, after. Like, it just...
He probably won't even learn from this. He's just going to continue and be like, oh, well. He'll probably be like, oh, well.
And the problem is, like, it feels
like... he sucks.
Yeah, it's like, yes, they took the right action in removing Luke. I'm glad that they did that. But it feels like that was the bare minimum. Like, I feel like they needed to really even warn the house guests, say, like, this should be a rule, this should be a, this should be a lesson to you that any action like this, will result in swift, immediate action and things like that. I think they needed to do more to just really show how bad this was. And I feel like they just not only downplayed it, but it felt almost like they were trying to protect Luke. And I just really didn't like that at all. So
yeah, I've noticed that too. Like, when the Cal edits happened last season, like, they were editing him to make it not look as bad as it was, but it was really terrible.
It was gross. Like, they gave him like that sympathy edit, and it's like, why are we sympathizing with someone who had all these like racist beliefs? It was like,
like, I would just love, for one time in a season, I would love to see a white man being casted who isn't racist or homophobic. Like, is that so hard to ask for?
Literally.
Yeah, definitely. We do get this moment where it seems like there's going to be a deeper discussion about it from Cory, but pretty much everyone shuts it down. I think regardless, there should have been a discussion from like production or something. Like, I think Allison Grodner should have come on and said, we just really just want to reinforce just how terrible this is and that we stood our ground. Like, there needed to be more happening here. And I just
they didn't like get into it that much, which they should have.
Especially like immediately pivoting from this to like something completely different. It just really felt like they didn't care. And
they're like,
really upset
they're
me.
just like, oh, we removed him. That's it.
Wait, do y'all feel like Allison should have came into the house and talked about it, or like?
No, I think what they should have done is like when Willie was removed in like Big Brother 14, what she did when she came on the the TV and like talked to them about what happened specifically. I think that would have definitely been more effective than just, oh, he said a racial slur, so. Yeah, I just feel like production really needed to do more here. And then the part that really upset me is that even more so than what happened with Luke is that for some reason, even though this is a 100-day season, even though there is a lot going on, there are 17 players. They just lost one of them already, so that should have counted as like the eviction for the week. They still are moving forward with the live vote and eviction, which I was just like, why?
Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to shorten the season or?
Yeah, I was so confused about this because like someone,
or maybe they're going to do a jury buyback. I don't know.
I thought this was going to indicate that maybe there'd be a battle back for the pre-jury, but considering information that somebody gets at the end of this episode, I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, maybe unless Julie just wants to like spill everything.
Well, that would be unfair though, because she has information that other people don't. So, yeah, I just really don't understand why they move forward with the eviction. It's like, I understand you don't want to adhere to change, but in this instance, you really needed to. You really needed to. Like, I think this was this was like literally major news. Like, every major headline was talking about this. Like, there was no reason to not focus the episode on this. Like, this should have been like the main focus of the episode, is just really showing how this affected everybody, having conversations about this and things like that. You did not need an eviction, especially when they didn't even want to evict Kirsten. They only evicted Kirsten because they didn't want Felicia to go. So, like, just so annoying. So annoying.
It's so stupid.
But with that said, I think we've talked about enough. It was disgusting what happened. I'm glad they took the right action, but I feel like there was definitely more.
Yeah, I'm glad they finally took action and did the right thing, but like they just didn't do as much as they should have, because it literally was just an afterthought. They literally just removed him, and then they're like, "Hey, the eviction's still happening."
Yeah, and especially like the feeds being down for like 13 hours. It's like, now it feels more like they were just trying to like stop people from talking about it, and they didn't want to actually show like the effect this was having on the players, and that just really like disgusts me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been handled better.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when something like that happens, you should be able to talk openly about it, because it's important. It's a very, sensitive discussion, but like, it should be discussed. You should not be trying to cover up what happened, because you took the action. You've made it clear you don't agree with this. You don't like what he did. You are strictly against what he did. You removed him for it. Why are you then keeping us from getting to see the players talk about it? I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like when you make such a big announcement, but you're not like following through, because like after a big announcement, like people want to talk about it. We need to understand and process it. And the fact that they're not really letting them process it is actually really bad, like mentally too.
Yeah, It just feels very performative. But BB production always feels performative, so this is nothing new.
Yeah, the BB production has never been that great.
No, definitely not.
Anyway, Reilly talks to Red because she feels they haven't talked at all. She tells him it's still week 1 and they're all still working out kinks and figuring things out. She doesn't know if anyone's trying to talk to him or not. He tells her nothing serious and mentions he's a part of no alliance. He lets her know he's observant, and his instincts are that her, Matt, Cory, Blue, and America may be, plus Jag. She lets him know they're her buddies, but if she hears anything, she'd tell him.
Why is she openly telling people this? Like, I don't get it.
I know.
Like,
Red says now that what?
There's a moment that they didn't show that I wish they did. Felicia's like talking to Reilly with Cirie, and Felicia literally says, "So who are you working with?" And Reilly names all of her allies.
I know, that should have been shown too.
Ugh. It's so bad.
It's not good. Reilly, what are you doing?
Yeah, like literally she could have prevented this.
Red says now that he's in the Professor's Alliance, he thinks it'd be a really good idea to talk to Reilly. Fish for a bit of information. He names off her alliance one by one, and it's very evident to him he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, Red's playing much differently than I expected him to, and honestly, I'm very impressed by what I'm seeing. He's very subtle with what he does, but I feel like he's very effective at what he does.
He is, and like he does actually seem like a very kind person.
Yeah, like he had a conversation with Izzy like earlier this week where like she was upset about something and he wanted to make sure like he didn't do anything to upset her, and I really like the way he handled himself there. He was very kind and like sweet about it, and I feel
love that.
People should do that in the Big Brother house. Like, don't just assume somebody is mad at you. Really try to talk to them and see like, did I do something to upset you? And I feel like that's really good for him. So
yeah, he seems like a really good person.
I'm generally shocked that I'm impressed by Red so far.
Me too. Like, we thought he wasn't a real person at first, but he's like really surprising us.
Yeah, now his diary rooms are a different story, but like I really love him on the show.
Some of them are okay. Some are just like very like something about fertilizer.
Yeah, what was the one about the fertilizer? I was dying at that when he's like,
I forget it.
There's fertilizer on the farm. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was something like that. I have to go back and watch that part.
Oh my god.
Reilly says Red names off her entire alliance to her face, which she's super confused about. She's never talked game with him, so she's stunned.
Yeah, literally.
Reilly then talks to Izzy that it's still really early and everyone is still meeting with each other and figuring things out. She says she has friends, but right now she's questioning why to make promises. Izzy tells her she doesn't mean to interrupt her and says to cut the bullshit. Izzy says they're working with different people, which she agrees it's still early, but she's heard things and she wants to work with people. She wants her to work with people she trusts, and she wants to work with people she trusts. This conversation was interesting.
Izzy's so direct. Like, it's so bad. It's
I
so
know. I mean, it's so good to watch, but she's so direct.
Yeah.
Izzy says even if they've fallen into different circles, she's looking out for her, which Reilly thinks the same. Reilly tells her she's really sketched out about next week, and she's nervous to talk to people because she feels people are scared of her, which is the last thing she wants.
I mean, you did everything to make that happen, Reilly, but okay.
Izzy says Reilly has been into people during her HOH reign. She wants to make her feel good, and let her know that even if they're on opposite sides, there are ways to look out for each other moving forward. She doesn't mean that on her end. She's absolutely going to target her first chance she gets.
Yeah, I mean,
Izzy.
Good, but also, like, my God, she is in overdrive right now.
Reilly is definitely worried about Izzy because of her saying she won't be her target. Reilly's paranoid that people think she's this ringleader. And then Cirie and Izzy bond a bit. Cirie says she really likes Izzy and says she has a huge personality. She's just worried because she doesn't want their target to grow because of that. A lot of times she has to tell her to calm down because of her sensitivity. She wants her to be super careful because she knows her secret. There's going to be a time where she's going to have to tell Izzy to stop.
There's already been a time where she's have to do that.
Mm-hmm. When she's spiraling, like her and Reilly are both spiralists, if that's even a word.
Spiralists.
A conversation with Kely word.
That's going to be a new term. She's a spiralist.
Reilly tells her alliance that she's been grilled more today by people such as Red and Izzy. She feels she's constantly under fire, which is a lot for her. She tells them if Izzy wins next week, one of them is going home, and America tells them it's a waste of an HOH to take Kirsten out.
Yeah, I mean, she's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a waste.
I know.
Because literally Reilly, again, at the end of the week, said she didn't even want to go for her. So, like...
Mm-hmm. Blue says Kirsten is a great ball of energy, and she was trying to play the game really hard and fast, which bit her in the ass. She knows her heart is in the right place, but she went about it the wrong way.
And again, I don't think the show did a good enough job of showing how Kirsten exactly did that, because something else that we did that they didn't show a lot is people would she would bring up things that people said to her, but she wouldn't say any names. And people were like, wait, who said that to you? And she's just like, people. And it's like, when you say that, it makes you look a lot more suspicious.
People. Oh. Jag says there are positives with keeping Kirsten. He thinks she's willing to extend her loyalty to someone that will take a chance on her. He could trust her moving forward. Reilly says Kirsten has been the easy vote this week, but with the way things are going in the house, she would feel in debt to her and her alliance and be a number in case things went sideways. If the whole group is outed to the public right now, why don't they add one more to the roster and send it?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this literally all week, and I want to hear y'all's take on this as well. But, you would think with the handful being in this very known alliance and constantly being seen as, they're the ones running the house and things like that, you would think they'd want to get more numbers on their side. And I feel like literally all they needed to do was go to Kirsten, be like, listen, we know who you're mad at. Kirsten made it clear who she was mad at, and that would have brought Kirsten to them. My God, I would have... I really just wish the eviction didn't happen. This could have been so good. And I feel like Kirsten would have stuck with the handful, and it would have been so much more exciting to watch and see her kind of find her footing within the game.
I know. That would have been so interesting.
Yeah.
It is then time for the first live vote of the season. Kirsten is up first to plea. She says she's enjoying getting to know each and every one of them and build relationships, She thanks them for working together with her on this common goal. They have given her fairness, and in turn, she returns her loyalty. She is trained to be here, and they have also seen her in her ability to compete in the veto and mental and physical aspects. She's determined to be the best person among them to get to the end of this competition. She intends on supporting them for their qualities they have shown her and how great of people they are. She'll be comfortable with every single one of them in the room, taking that home, and she's here to support them the best she can, and she's here to play. That was a good plea.
It was.
And then Felicia's is like shorter, but it's still good. Or Felicia. Felicia? Who's Felicia?
I don't know.
It's like Hisam.
Heisman.
Or Heisman. Hisam.
Yeah, or them calling Cory Connor.
Hisam.
Or Cody.
It's so funny. Everyone's like bad with names this season.
It's so good.
Felicia is up next to plea. She starts off giving some love to Kirsten and Dwayne. She tells the house guests they become her new family, and it's been a pleasure and honor to be in there with them. She has way more game in her. She has way more demands for Mr. B for the house. She wants to keep playing, and it's been a dream of a lifetime. If it's her time to go, it's okay. It's okay too. Everything has a purpose. She's just so nice.
Oh, she is. She really is. She's also iconic.
Oh, so good. During the voting period.
I was just gonna say we get to the vote here, and it's like very straightforward, but there are a couple things I do want to go over.
Oh, it's so good. During the voting period, Cory shades Zach for beating his placement, which is like the best thing ever.
So
no,
good.
he didn't.
He's like, so beat you, Zach.
Yeah, my thing, like, I will contend I'm not a fan of shout-outs in the diary room. I feel like it's your time to vote. You should just let people vote, not make it all about you, and just kind of focus on that. But this I love. If Cory continues to just make fun of Zach and him being first boot and Cory getting farther, it's going to be like one of my favorite things about this season. Literally, I said it on Facebook. I said, BU Zach is the only exception to like shout outs in the diary room. Give me all of this and less of like shout out to my mom, shout out to my dog.
I will say the only other shout outs I'd say are maybe like if it's like a birthday for your family or something.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
But like not too many though. Just like birthday or something funny like that.
Wait, do y'all think Cory like as long as he's not on the chopping block, he's gonna like shade him in the voting in the diary room?
I feel so here's the thing. I feel like a lot of the time people just kind of like have a running gag in the house. And I feel like this is Cory's running gag. Like, I think every opportunity he gets to shade his brother, he will take it. Because I don't know if you've noticed on Twitter, Zach has been shading him hardcore too. He literally changed his Twitter picture to a picture of Hisam after he said this. Because of Hisam and Cory's like beef, which is so funny.
He's so funny. Like, I will say the trolls of like the BB and Survivor community are definitely like Turner, Zach, and Cory.
Oh yeah.
They're so good.
Get those three in a room together. My God, it would be chaos.
Oh, that'd be so funny. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, they would just constantly be like playing jokes.
Shade each other.
And shading. Oh, and then we get something that's really upsetting and sad.
Yeah.
Matt also has difficulty hearing Julie, who raises her voice to get him to finally leave and makes no real attempt to help him beyond that.
This was another thing where it's like, you already lost me by having an eviction, by not showing enough of like what happened to Luke and making it an afterthought. Now you have a player who very obviously has difficulty hearing you. You can tell that's why he's not leaving. And your way to solve that is to then get louder, which in itself is ableist, because that's something that like is very harmful to do to people who are
it's
like
really gross.
And things like that.
It's like really bad, and it's just like terrible because like they need to like learn to accommodate him better.
Yeah, it's like it's so bad, and it's like
and Matt seems so sweet. I love him.
and they knew that he was going to be cast. Like they really have no excuse at this point for why they can't accommodate him. Literally give him an iPad and write down what is being said. And that's like, that's literally all you need to do. Like just have a transcript of what is being said. And that's fine. Because Matt has said before, he can read lips very well. He can read very well. He has years of speech therapy. Like that's literally all you need to do. And I don't understand why they can't make such an easy fix.
Literally. And I will say, just because like Matt and Jack are so wholesome, if they ever try to go for either of them, I will be very upset.
Yes, definitely.
They're just so sweet. I just want to hug both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, Kevin, it's very upsetting because like I'm sure being a person in a disability going into a reality game, it's already like scary. It's scary as a person who has all their senses, but having a disability, it just makes it harder. And the fact that they're not accommodating is very heartbreaking, and they could do better because they already knew beforehand.
Yeah, and it really just shows, and like people have said this a lot, but I feel like this season, it's really just showing that like they do not care about their players. They don't. They make it very clear that they don't. They have their favorites and they will portray them in the way that they do, but they do not care about how, they accommodate certain people and things like that. And I feel like with someone like Matt, who is the first deaf contestant on the show, it feels like they just did it for brownie points at this point. Like they did it to pat themselves on the back and be like, hey, look at this. Like we're doing something different without actually thinking about, well, maybe we need to rework some of the comps. Like, again, it's such an easy fix. They don't want to do it. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and I also read on Twitter about Janelle was saying like they didn't allow you to have meds or anything, and she had to hide a medicine in her her sunglasses kit. And it's like
that's so
it's like these people aren't allowing them to like. Sometimes we need medicine, like and they're not giving her anxiety meds. I heard like they don't allow meds because it makes their behavior change. Like they say like it's helpful for them to get far in the game or something. But I think like if you need meds, you need it, which is, and it's sad because there's people who have to take meds, but they can't go on the show because they're being so strict about it.
Yeah, it's
just
bad all around.
It's terrible because like people like, what if someone needed to bring like vitamins? What if they needed anxiety and depression meds? What if they or anything like, and like they say, oh no, you can't have that stuff. So what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, and actually, something I didn't realize until I saw a tweet about it was that they don't have a monitor in the diary room. They cannot see Julie. They can hear Julie, but they cannot see Julie. And I feel like for Matt, an easy fix would just be, like I said, give him an iPad, give him a TV.
Yeah.
As long as he can read her lips, like he's good. Or if you to do that, give like a flashing light or something, like when it's time to leave, like flash it green or something. It's such an easy thing to do. Like I don't know why they don't think about these things. Literally, like I feel like in games, like it's so important to care about the safety of your players, and I just feel like Big Brother has shown so little effort to actually accommodate people and actually try to do something that benefits their players, and it's just really disgusting. And the thing is, like,
so bad.
This is not unique to Big Brother. I saw something on Twitter that said, like, I guess there was like an America's Next Top Model contestant who was blind, and they kind of like made fun of her throughout the season and things like that. They like purposefully like put her like through a situation where like she was gonna fall down so they could like laugh at her. So this has been going on for years, and I feel like casting Matt is your opportunity to try to destigmatize that and try to show like reality TV is moving in a more positive direction, and they're doing everything they possibly can to keep that from happening.
It's just really gross and like terrible.
Yeah, I just can't believe Julie Chen was like basically yelling at him. Like that's
really not comfortable with that.
Me. And the thing is, I'm sure she has some pull. Like, couldn't she say something? Like, it's clear that she doesn't care.
And you can't say like Julie wasn't.
She's probably just like she's just there to be like to host her show. Like she doesn't even give a shit, I don't think.
And the thing is, like, you can't tell me Julie wasn't prepared for this. She has had years of media training. She hasn't just done Big Brother. She's interviewed so many people on like the early show, on the talk and things like that. She knows what to do with this. She just, again, didn't want to do it. And it's just really disheartening to see. Like, why do you even bother casting somebody if you're not even going to try to make the game fair for them? It's just really
it's
upsetting.
People who wants to go on reality TV, it's kind of best that you don't go because you're gonna get made fun of, and it sucks when people who really want an opportunity like this, but they're getting insulted and whatnot, and it's not fair to them.
Yeah.
It's just really upsetting, and Matt's such a nice guy. Like, he doesn't.
He's just like, he's also another like teddy bear.
He really is. And like it just really sucks how much they're like taking advantage of him and things like that.
Yeah, and I also saw like during the game, I think America was helping him feel more welcome because they were playing a game, and it was very hard for him to like, like be a part of it.
Yeah, he said before, like he's good in like one-on-ones, but like group settings, he can't really hear like anything. Like, it basically sounds like a crowded
that's what I've heard too. Yeah,
and I feel like production should have seen that and be like, okay, maybe we should try to change this up. Like, again, there's so many things they could be doing, and it's just it just really upsets me the way
it literally like gives me like, it makes my stomach hurt, and my stomach even hurts right now.
It really does. And there's other stuff they've done. Allegedly, I'll just get into it right now. The veto that just went on, the feeds were down for like a long time, and supposedly it's because it was a very unfair comp for Matt, and most of the cast agree that it was an unfair comp for him. And anytime they try to bring it up, they try to like stop them from doing it. It's just really gross all around.
That's disgusting.
I just don't understand why they can't just step in and say, we really just were not prepared for how to handle this, and then try to fix it. It would do them so much better if they just admitted that they did not know what to fucking do and actually then try to come up with a solution. But again, they don't fucking care. Like, it's obvious.
It's just really gross to watch,
Yeah. Anyway,
it makes me very sad and disheartened.
And the thing is, I hear that other Big Brother games are doing way better when it comes to stuff like this. Like, if somebody says something like a slur, like, they make sure that they get out and like no questions asked. Like, they make sure these players take accountability. Whereas US, I don't really see any accountability. And I feel like these people, I don't know, I feel like production could just do better, but they're not doing better because they don't want to lose money for whatever reason. Like, they could do the iPad situation like you were talking about, but they decide not to because they don't want to spend more money.
It's the old adage of like, well, we've done this for years, so why would we try to do something different? And it's like, you want your show, I feel like, especially this far into your show, like, you want it to evolve, you want to change things up. And especially this season, they've been saying like, we're doing things differently. Like, this was your opportunity to show that, and it's just, they're not, and it's just really upsetting. So yeah, I just, not to harp on it constantly, but it's a very important thing to talk about. I think it's really upsetting to see.
It's just really it's really just heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I just feel so bad for Matt, because like, I can imagine he was like so excited to get to play this game. Probably still had some worries about, what was going to happen, but I think he had he was really excited to go in, and just to see all this happening, it's just really upsetting all around.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Just fucking accommodate your players.
Literally do it.
Exactly. It's not that hard to do, especially since you have the resources to do it.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. Where was it?
That's right.
Oh,
and then what's an extremely predictable and boring vote, Kirsten is the first person evicted from the BB25 house by a unanimous vote of 13-0.
Which really just shows that they did not need this to happen. Like, this was such a
I'm like surprised. I'm surprised like at least one or two people didn't throw a hinky vote.
I think it's because they all were just so unified, and the consensus was that we're voting out Kirsten, that I think nobody wanted to be the one to like throw like a sympathy vote.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought like a Mecole or maybe America. Or even just Matt, just like somebody random.
I thought Matt was potentially like gonna keep her.
Yeah, I could have seen that too.
Because they had like a really good like bond, like
friendship, yeah.
Yeah. Could have gone
somewhere. Yeah, they had a really like genuine friendship.
Yeah, but anyway, let's talk about Kirsten's interview, which is ridiculously long, let me just say.
She just has it's more she just has a lot to say.
Yeah, for a first boot, I mean, there was a lot.
Her first question that she got was really long. She said she had a lot to say. All right. During Kirsten's interview with Julie, she tells Julie she's really surprised to be here because she had pretty good relationships with a lot of people in the house very early. She tried to get a yes or a definitive answer from people about 2 or 3 times before she came to decisions. She made sure to continuously check in with people, and everyone told her she was good and they got her. She thinks where she went wrong was that people have said they wanted it to be unanimous no matter what.
I mean, not really her fault. More so just Felicia was on the block and they didn't want to go for her. So that's not really.
Yeah. Now, if she was against somebody else, she probably could have gotten at least some votes, even if she was leaving.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the plan was literally that they were going to backdoor Izzy. And I think Izzy might have gone.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you imagine if Izzy was first boot? That would have been insane.
Oh, my God. That'd be insane.
Yeah.
As there has been so much tension, people did want to know who she had. She felt it was peculiar to say each person and name all these things that go wrong. Hence previous seasons like Swaggy and BB20, which I'm surprised she actually knew that.
Yeah, right?
She doesn't really watch the show.
That's probably the season they gave her in Sequester.
Yeah, maybe, and she'd probably maybe just seen bits and pieces.
Yeah, because they usually give them a season to watch while they're like preseason, and they probably gave her BB20.
Yeah, maybe. Either that or maybe she just watched bits and pieces before, but not the whole thing.
Maybe. I don't know.
She didn't feel comfortable naming names. She pushed through it, but it didn't work out in the end. And she feels most betrayed by Cirie because of private conversations they had and taking things to the HOH to prevent the person she was sitting next to from possibly being evicted.
Which is literally what you're supposed to do. I don't really... I get sort of why she's, betrayed by her, but again, I feel like if Kirsten had just known more about Big Brother, she would understand why this was happening.
Yeah.
And I think she could have really saved herself if that was the case.
I think so, too. She tells Julie she'd be surprised if there was a secret relationship in the house, and she doesn't know who it could be. So Julie lets Kirsten know that Cirie is Jared's mother, which surprises her.
And that pretty much threw out any sort of speculation that maybe there's a buyback. She knows this information now. There's no...
I feel like then, if they're not doing a pre-jury buyback, maybe a jury one.
That's what I'd figure. There's probably going to be...
But I will say, I would have liked to see her come back at least to have a second chance.
Yeah, I think...
originally, I had really high hopes for her.
I think she would have regained her footing pretty quickly, too, because there were people that did want to work with her.
Yeah, definitely.
And when there's a unanimous vote like that, it's you can't really be mad at one specific person. Everybody voted you out. So it's to say, oh, I was just doing what the house wanted and things like that. And, I think she would have worked with a handful alliance is what probably would happen.
Yeah, I could see that. But I definitely feel like she would have worked with Mecole in America and probably Matt with a little as well. She probably would have tried to work with or rekindle her relationship with Cirie.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say. Maybe a Jared.
Yeah.
Kirsten says today he stated that his family calls him Jay Bleezy in the bathroom. And someone said that Miss Cirie's son's name. That's Miss Cirie's son's name. And they didn't think anything of it.
Which I feel like that was Izzy that probably said that.
Probably.
So I don't think it's worth speculating.
Yeah. Kirsten says it was an hour ago, and she thinks it's crazy because Jared's on one side of the house and Cirie's on the other, which Julie questions if they really are.
I don't understand why Julie was oh, well, maybe they're not actually. It's you literally said to her that. What are you doing?
Oh my God, you're literally spilling everything when you shouldn't. Yeah. Let her find out for herself.
Yeah. Also, again, it would have just been nice if she didn't, because then maybe there could have been a buyback.
True. And then we actually get some goodbye videos, which are really sweet.
I was shocked for a first boot. What do you even say?
Yeah. So she ended up, we don't really need to say everything, but she had one from Reilly, Jared, America, Matt, and Mecole. And it was really sweet because Mecole called her sister in the house. Yeah. Which they probably would have really worked together if she stayed. Oh, yeah. But I mean, Mecole obviously had to vote her out because she's in the other alliance and she didn't want to look sketchy. But I mean, but then it was really funny where she's like, Kirsten tells Julie she felt like there were more people in the house, which makes her laugh because like
again,
only a
really shows that Kirsten does not watch Big Brother.
well, literally only 5 gave her a video message.
Yeah, which is typically how it is.
But I mean, it makes sense. Those are like some of the people she like really like. Well, like Matt, Mecole, and America were the ones she really bonded with. Jared as well, and then Reilly.
The only time I've seen them show every single one was Big Brother Over the Top because they had the time.
Yeah, because there are less people and stuff.
Yeah.
And then before the episode ends, Julie calls out to the house guests, but they are nowhere to be found. And as we see a portal, they have clearly gone through within the Scaryverse.
This was so stupid. Like the way this ended, I thought we
really
were going to get some sort of like big twist reveal because they did the eviction like fairly early on in the episode, and I thought, okay, maybe something's going to happen here. But they ended on this stupid cliffhanger that was the equivalent of Cody and Big Brother 22 going, "Where'd they go?" So like, yeah, I wasn't here for this. I thought this was stupid. We know,
yeah, it was kind of dumb.
But like, I don't know. This was just a really awkward way to end the episode.
Oh yeah, it was very awkward and just cringy.
Yeah, Julie's like, "Where are they?" I'm like, "You fucking know."
Like bad acting skills.
So bad.
Like Julie, they're literally just doing some stuff for the twist.
It was obvious this was like for a comp. Like it was
And a comp.
But yeah, other than that, that is how we wrap up this first week. Like I said, it really sucks that this episode was so incredibly messy and scattershot because this was such a good first week. There's so much juicy stuff to talk about with, you know, it coming down to this split house and one of the sides almost immediately being dismantled because Reilly couldn't keep her mouth shut and then kept like changing, you know, how she felt about things and things like that. Like there was so much more I feel like they could have shown this week and they just didn't. And it's unfortunate that the people who are making the show seem to care so little about the show. And I think we really got to see that in this first week.
Oh yeah. And honestly, like the season is very eventful. That's why this video is literally over 2 hours.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. And I feel like it's just going to keep being that way, which is great.
But I am so excited to talk about the next week and everything.
Yeah, that's the thing is that though this episode, there was a lot of things that infuriated me. They can still very much come back from this. There's a lot of stuff to really get excited for when it comes to this season. You know, the fact that they took the action that they did when they did, especially is good early on because, you know, it's such an eventful season. I think people are really going to get excited for what happens and things like that. So yeah, I mean, generally a really good first week. It just sucks that it ended on a really negative note overall.
Yeah, it was very good, but obviously, yeah, just how it ended. A lot of things were just like really handled badly. But I mean, overall, it was still a really good first week because very eventful.
For sure. But yeah, anything else we want to say about this week before we wrap things up here?
I think we pretty much covered everything, but I will say I was like very sad to see Kirsten go though, just because I did have a lot of high hopes for her over like preseason, but she just kind of like was pretty disappointing. But I mean, and I wish she did a little better with the DRs, but I mean, she was still fun to watch.
She also was at a very big disadvantage almost immediately, being in a comp that she really was never, I think, going to do all that well in to begin with. And the fact that, you know, she was on the block, probably played the way that she did because she was on the block and trying to save herself. So it just really sucks the way things played out for her because I strongly do believe if she played the same way but wasn't a nominee, I think she easily could have gotten herself out of what she did. But unfortunately,
yeah, she could have. But like, I feel like she could have done more to like stay. Yeah. She didn't really fight too hard.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Victoria,
I mean, she was
any final thoughts on Kirsten?
I just think, yeah, being first boot sucks. I feel like if she wasn't nominated that week, she would have lasted at least maybe longer, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, it just sucked. But I mean, at the end of the day, even when playing orgs, I just tell myself at the end of the day there is only one winner, and there is only one winner unless you're a duo. So yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Robert Toria.
Yes,
Victoria. We got a divorce. We had one last hurrah in the older guy's music video, and then that was it. He's off just now.
Moment of silence.
Oh,
Rip Robert Toria. But anyway, yeah, this was a lot of fun to
also, should we mention some like live feed stuff?
I mean, we kind of did here and there.
Oh yeah, true.
But I think we'll talk about that more next week, because there is.
Yeah.
I will say the week that's playing out now is a lot more straightforward for the most part. I think this.
I will say it's still spicy, but there's definitely like it is pretty eventful as well. It is straightforward, but it also has some spicy moments.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to talk about next
and
week.
Also, I will say Reilly and Matt might be starting a showmance.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
It's like I just sent you a tweet that I saw.
Yeah.
That they've been really like huggy since like she found out she's on the block.
The other fucking thing about Cameron I can't stand. He keeps trying to push to Reilly that people thought that she was in a showmance with Matt, when literally nobody was saying it. He was just saying it himself to get her all riled up, so she comes crawling to him. It's just fucking disgusting, man. I can't stand him.
I hate him so much now. Oh, gross.
Yeah. Anyway, before we do wrap
this up,
can
I say one last thing before we go?
Yeah, sure.
Scream Perplexed by Julie Ragbeer. Okay.
Oh, I was about to get into that. Victoria, if there's anything you want to plug, go right ahead.
All right. I already said it. Oh, well, I'll say it again. Scream Perplexed by Julie Ragbeer is my debut. It came out around July, and I'd really appreciate the support if you'd want to. And I actually released a new music video called Older Guys, and it has a special demo from the robber of Robertoria that is now broken up. But yeah, if you'd like to watch it, it's on my YouTube, Julie Ragbeer. So feel free to watch it and maybe subscribe. And thank you to Allie and Kevin for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes, a lot of fun. We'll definitely try to get you on sometime again, but definitely check out Perplex. It's a really great album. There's a lot of fun songs on there. Some really good lyrics.
Stream it on everything. Listen to it. Watch her videos. Everything.
Yeah, definitely recommend checking all of that out. But
and of course, and follow her on everything.
Yes, definitely. But I think any other things to plug, Allie, before we wrap this up here?
Stay tuned for last weekend. This week, Stars on Mars.
Oh, okay. I get the wrong show.
Yeah, because we didn't get to do last week's yet, so we're gonna do both this week's and last week's together. And we only have like a few more episodes, 2 or 3 more after that.
Hopefully it's better, because it's starting to lose me, not gonna lie.
Hopefully the ending is good. And then Claim to Fame, we just have this week's, and then I think next week are the last 2. So just 3 more episodes. But obviously such an amazing season. Obviously this week's Big Brother. And then of course stay tuned for all of our other shows we're eventually gonna do. The Mole, The Traitors, The Circle, Secret Chef.
Which shout out to
and also HSM Musical The Series Season 4.
I was gonna say that, but also shout out to Muna Abdullahi, who is rumored to be on The Mole Season 2. We love her.
We love her.
Yes. But also, look forward to our coverage for the final season of HSM, the musical series. A lot to talk about. It's the final season. We will, I think, be doing that tonight. So definitely look forward to that.
Oh, wait, do y'all know when the last season's coming out? Is it this month?
It came out.
It's already out.
Oh my gosh.
All 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes, awesome. Definitely. It's a very, very good season.
It's very good.
It's a lot of the things I've wanted them to do in this show, they do in this final season. So.
Definitely.
But yeah, other than that, that's it for this video. As always, comment down below. Let us know anything you guys want to know about this week. Love to hear your thoughts on that. You can include spoilers for live feeds, but just be very cognizant of those that don't want to know. Put like a spoiler tag and things like that. That's always appreciated. And let's try to have some, friendly discourse about it. Let's not try to be toxic and shit because, people do that a lot. But anyway.
Just be kind, please. Just be kind. Don't be bitchy.
Yeah, definitely. And certainly don't try to fire people from their jobs just because you don't like a move they made. That's
yes. I'm glad that you spoke about that because I remember I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. Hisam,
yeah.
Hisam, yeah. Yeah, I saw I found out that somebody put a 1-star review on his practice. Like that's going too far. Like these
my god
have no chill. You should not be doing something about their practice like that. That is wrong in so many levels. And they were saying he was inappropriate or whatever, and that's not true. You're just mad over a game.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, literally some fans just go way too far.
They did the same thing to Turner last season where they trashed his rug business and things like that. It's there's just some things that are completely uncalled for, and that's definitely one of them.
I will say I remember the rug business. I remember I think Turner did something good and people were giving him 5-star ratings. So I guess that was the positive, but I don't like when people at the end of the day, these people are human beings. They have jobs outside of this work. Not all of them are going to become influencers. They're going to go back to their jobs, and it's very cruel to just say bad stuff about their business or whatever they're doing, because they have to make a living just like us.
Yeah, criticize them for things they said in the game, criticize them for moves you didn't like, but trying to fire them from their jobs and things like that, trying to give them 1-star reviews, just really is taking it to a level that
that's just really going too far. That's just it's very uncalled for.
Yeah, and you really, I think, just need to kind of reevaluate yourself if you're doing that. Maybe just go outside, touch some grass, I think that's the best thing to really do. But anyway, that's it for this. Just wanted to get into all of that. But anyway, we are going to wrap this up finally. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. We will see you guys later.